last night. My back was hurting so bad. I went and got a massage yesterday. I reached out. I'm like, Dama, can you get me in? And it's better, but not. I did something in my back. I have no idea. Like, I can walk, I can run, I can jump, I can do anything going for. Like, I can lift weights. If I just roll over in bed, it can send shivers from top to bottom. If you turn the wrong way.
Right.
So I don't know. I pulled a muscle. I hope it's not a disc. I hope it's just muscular. She seemed to think it was just muscular.
Well, that's good. Was she able to target the area?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
She beat the crap out of me. She's great. I've never ever had a better masseuse than her.
It's one of the things that I've missed. I haven't had one since August. Ooh, and boy, could I use one now.
Got that right. How about the big names on that leaderboard, AJC? Yes. I watch golf and I don't know who these guys are. I mean, I do. I watch the other tournaments. I mean, I'm looking at this leaderboard going, who in the hell are... When my wife looks at me and she goes, who are I? Said, no idea. Yep. I know who that guy is, and I know who that guy is. And after that, Luke Donald, Jonathan Vegas, and that's about it.
I mean, I watch a DP World Tour, and I don't know who these guys are.
All right, here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on this Friday. Hope your week has gone well, and, well, we're going to try to finish strong, and hopefully you will as well. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. It's a normal Friday, and that Pat Kirwan will join us to talk plenty of football. There's a horse race to bet. You can still make money on it, even though the Triple Crown's not going to happen. Kurt Becker to talk about the Preakness, win you some money. He picked the Derby winner. And also, we're going to get into, I think, a big issue with horse racing. Mark, I contend that going forward, the industry as a whole needs to have a little something that you sign up for when you enter the Derby. You agree that if your horse wins the Derby, it will run the Preakness.
I love where your head's at, David. But this is load management for horses, and you can't tell someone who has a multi-million-dollar horse, and if they say the horse isn't ready to run, that they're going to sacrifice the tens of millions of dollars that could happen if something bad happens to that horse by running it too soon.
Don't know what to tell you. Okay, the industry as a whole is bigger than you and your horse. Okay, it is. I'm sorry. I'm just saying, then don't enter the horse in the Derby. That's all. If the industry needs the Derby winner to at least be in the field for the Preakness. I mean, I'm sorry. They did it for 100 years. Okay, it was fine. It was fine. Okay, there are horses that were in the Derby that are in the Preakness now.
I understand that, David. I
know.
That is the equivalent to saying if you play in Jason Tatum, you played in game 4 and you blew out your Achilles, but you signed up for this playoff, so you got to play in game 5.
Well, obviously, Mark, there would be an allowance for a legitimate injury. Okay, obviously. Okay, and I don't just mean that, you say, hey, my horse has a this. Obviously, it would go before, a neutral trainer who would go, oh, yeah, the horse has got this. Oh, okay, then the horse, is not going to run in the Preakness. But under normal circumstances, that's all I want. That's all I want. It's one horse, by the way. We're talking. This will affect one horse.
I got you. To me, it's a much more simple execution than it is to demand that one horse shows up. You need to spread this out. They don't run horses the same way in 2025 as they did in 1975. The industry has to change. All sports over time have made consolations because the sport evolves and changes. This sport has evolved. It has changed. The breeding patterns are different. Therefore, you can't run the horses as often. It is not healthy for them to do that.
How about this? How about we combine our two? Because I totally agree with you. I want May, June, July, boom, boom, boom. First weekend, May, first Saturday, June, July 4th weekend, Belmont. I want that. How about then we combine them? I love your schedule. Boom, done. Would have been done years ago. Oh, by the way, you sign up, you win the Derby, you got to enter the Preakness.
And if they give him a month, he'd be running. And I'm convinced that Sovereignty would be running in the Preakness if it were 2 weeks from now.
Okay, but would you be okay with it literally being in the fine print when your horse enters the Derby, in which, just so you know, okay, that, hey, you got to be in the Preakness with your schedule?
That's fine. What it would do with my schedule, what it would encourage trainers and owners to do, and I'm fired up that journalism's running in the Preakness, but it would encourage, we've talked about it many times. Affirmed and Aladar, Secretariat and Sham. These were classic 3-race battles between horses. And that would be seen more if we spread it out.
All right. Would you consider yourself a golf goober?
I'm damn close to getting there. If I'm not, I certainly have the traits, David, because I've watched golf tournaments like the Valero Texas Open or whatever the hell it is. I've watched a few of these that are not elevated fields. And I've watched them Saturday and Sunday. Right. So that's about, I don't watch the Korn Ferry Tour. I don't watch the DP World Tour, but the PGA Tour, I watch a lot more golf than I realized.
All right. You know who Johnny Vegas is, your leader of the PGA. You've heard of Johnny Vegas.
Yeah, he's been around a while. He played really well, 5-6 years ago, and then kind of fell off the map. So this is a hell of a story.
Yeah, he's 40.
Vegas.
Yeah, he's 40 now. Okay, so happy for him. The career best round in a major, leading the PGA. Great. Do you know who Ryan Gerard is?
I have to say, David, I don't.
Okay. You know Cam Davis, right?
Right.
Yeah, from what's he, Australia, New Zealand, something like that? Luke Donald. Come on, we know Luke Donald.
Right.
Ryan Fox.
No, I'm not really that familiar with Ryan Fox.
No.
Did he play for the Lakers?
Rick Fox.
Oh, right. Okay. Right.
Very good-looking man, married to Vanessa Williams. What an ugly couple they were. Okay,
right.
Man, oh man. Ryan Fox happens to be a 28-year-old from New Zealand. Okay, he's 3 back in a big tie for 4th. Are you familiar with American Alex Smalley?
I'm familiar with the name, but if he walked in the studio right now, I would have no idea who he was.
Are you sure you're not thinking of Roy Smalley, the infielder from 40 years ago? Are you sure you're familiar with Alex Smalley?
I've seen the name. That's all I'm telling you. Prior to yesterday, I had seen the name.
He was first alternate, by the way, got tapped on the shoulder 15 hours before his eventual tee time.
Didn't realize this until yesterday, is that the PGA invites the top 10 alternates, I believe, or the top 8 alternates. It's either 8 or 10, but they invite all of them to the PGA and let them practice as if they were in the tournament. So Smalley was there, on Wednesday practicing like he was going to play. And Thagala ended up pulling out and he got his spot, but was there. I think that's a classy move on the part of the PGA of bringing over. I did not know that. And I'm like, that's cool.
Do you think that goes back to Daly?
It
What,
might.
what was he? Was he ninth alternate, something like that?
He
That
was, he
event-
was he was deep. I
And
seventh,
eventually
ninth,
he
something
got
like
in
that.
when Nick Price backed out. Stefan Jaeger.
No, can't help.
He's 35-year-old German. Yeah. Okay. Englishman Aaron Ray, spelled Rai.
Yeah, no.
No, I watch a little DP World Tour. I think I've seen him. Okay, I think he's a 30-year-old Englishman. You know Alex Noren, though.
Right.
Okay, but see, now we're down to the 3 unders. So I did the folks that were in the top 8 there. Anyway, hell of a stat for the PGA. It's the first time in at least 30 years. Right? So they went back 30 years, couldn't find it. They're still working on it. First time in at least 30 years, not a single top 10 player in the world's in the top 10 after the first round of a major. So that's how nondescript this leaderboard is after round 1 at Quail Hollow. You know, the Kardashian of the PGA Tour.
Hunter Mahan's quote: "It's modern, it's beautiful, but it lacks soul."
Right. It's a Kardashian.
Wow. Wow. I want to interview Hunter Mahan, and I want to just ask him, how do you know so much about the Kardashians?
So the guy who's, I don't know if he's running the PGA or he's in charge of the course, he was told of Hunter Mahan's quote, and first he said who. Okay, so you could tell he was a little annoyed. And then he's like, well, he hasn't played here in 8 years. And, he knew everything about Hunter Mahan and how many times he'd played Quail Hollow and what have you. And so apparently now he has a standing invitation, does Hunter Mahan, to play Quail Hollow with one of the members, okay, to maybe learn a little bit about the course and its soul.
Interesting. But
So,
to your point, David, it is a leaderboard that is lacking star power in an event that has the best field of any of the majors.
and we were right. All week, we kept saying, they probably should play lift, clean, and place on Thursday. If you've got 3 days of pretty heavy rain, are the conditions going to be such on Thursday where you may have to go lift, clean, and place? Mud balls were an issue throughout the round on about 5 holes yesterday. The 16th was clearly a problem. You piped it down the fairway on 16. You had mud on your ball. I mean, I don't know how they couldn't very early on figure that out. And for even if you only did it on 1 or 2 holes, can't you have lift, clean, and place? I mean, if you're going to hit it 300 down the middle and have a big clump of mud on your ball, I've always felt I hated when you hit it down the middle and it was in a divot. Always thought that should have been ground under repair. Always thought if you hit it in the fairway and you had mud on your ball, you should have been allowed to take the mud off. It's ridiculous. You hit the fairway. Come on now. I know you golfers.
Scotty Scheffler was PO'd after. Scotty Scheffler, who doesn't really ever get upset. Scotty Scheffler, who is as straight as an arrow when it comes to his demeanor, whether he's winning a tournament or losing by 70. You can't tell. He does not exude hardly any emotion. Was ticked off after the round.
Mark, he was more ticked off about the mud balls at Quail Hollow than he was last year when he got arrested at the PGA.
Basically cost him a double bogey on 16, right? He hooked it into the water with the mud ball there.
Yeah, sitting in the middle of the fairway, 320 down the middle. Right. Same thing. Shoffley too, right?
Both of them, yeah.
No.
2 mud balls, 2 double bogeys.
Right.
You know what? Kind of sounds like us. 2 mud balls, 2 double bogeys. It's Miller and Moulton on a Friday. For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Honey, you want to come out? I haven't seen you since Glass Doctor installed our custom shower enclosure.
No thanks.
Well, you can't keep eating breakfast in the shower, and laminating your magazines is getting expensive. You remember we have guests coming over tonight, right?
Oh, I'm sure they'd love to see the shower.
It's our neighbors, and I highly doubt they want to be hanging out in our bathroom.
The shower is so good, you'll never want to leave. Visit glassdoctor.com today and schedule an appointment online.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
What are you thinking for a poll question? And did something happen yesterday with the whole House settlement that I missed? Because I saw some posts from Amanda Kristovich and people responding to her post and a few other. I didn't see anything during the day. Did you?
No.
There was an I guess the NIL clearinghouse.
Right, provided a memo.
Yeah. And, she says, to me, the most striking part of the memo is the part that says the clearinghouse won't block players' NIL deals. If a deal is flagged by the clearinghouse as pay for play, the athlete can still accept it, just with the understanding that there is a risk of eligibility concerns. So there are people, no one really challenging her, but there were just I saw that because someone else responded to it. Ambient, you can rent a car. Happy birthday. Last meaningful birthday of your life. Everyone else after that is just a number. 25, at least you find. 18, you can vote. 21, you can drink. 25, you can rent a car. After that, they're just milestones. And I don't know why all these papers are owned by the same companies, and you can read articles on some papers' websites and not on others.
Totally agree.
Like I go to the Courier Journal in Louisville is my one and only go-to for anything horse racing. Nobody does a better job. And they let you read all their damn articles. Thank you. But if I try to get into the Naples Daily News, I'm shut off.
Yep. Nix, I agree with you. Mudballs. That would be a good name for a horse. Johnny Mac, are you talking about Scheffler?
Yeah, I think it was a little bit of an overzealous cop, Johnny Mac. I think we're starting getting on Scheffler for breaking the rules. Let's slow down a little bit.
I think we can all agree it was a double misunderstanding.
Do you see The Athletic did an article about the cop and his pants?
No.
Yeah, basically, apparently at the moment, an auctioneer thought the pants would have been worth 20 grand. The pair that, whatever he spent on it, says they're worth about 8 now. They interviewed the cop. The cops kept them.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Top of the morning to you. Hope you've had a good week. Heck, I hope you've had a great week, or at least a very good week. How about that? It's tough. It's tough to achieve greatness. Okay? I mean, the word great is used way too often. Athletes, he's great. She's great. I don't know. Great's a pretty high standard. But how about at least a very good week? And if you had a great week, that's fantastic. Thanks for finishing it with us in some way, shape, or form. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X.
If you think by chance you walked into a time warp when you started the show this morning because Miller and Moulton began talking horse racing and golf, it is indeed 2025. You are in the right place. You didn't, it wasn't one of those moments where you were having a Groundhog's Day moment going, am I in 1973 right now? Because I think if I would have woken up and listened to Miller and Moulton break down horse racing to begin a sports talk show in the midst of the NHL and NBA playoffs, I may have wondered too. But we're goobers. We're goobers.
We are. Plus, it was a 4-minute detour. And I think by now our audience knows that we go on tangents, we go on detours, and eventually we get back on the highway. We do.
Again, I'm just merely saying, I was thinking during the break, there's not another sports show in the country, including ones in Baltimore and Louisville, that will open with horse racing and golf today. I don't believe that there is. That's all I'm saying. Part of our charm, Miller and Moulton. Text lines open at 21,000. If you have a weird sport for us to talk about, send us a text. We'll try to get it in.
So I have to admit, I'm really intrigued by this matchup. And I'm not a fan of the current style of ball in the NBA. I'm not. It's too many threes for my liking. I mean, I've even struggled watching the Knicks Celtics series. And I'm a Knicks fan since I was 8-9 years old. And I'm 59 now. But you got to love the on-paper matchup that is now going to take place Sunday at 3:30. And I know it'll be hard for some of us to watch because we'll be watching the home stretch of the PGA. But you've got the old guys, if you will. The champions from just 2 years ago with the best player in the league, Denver and Jokic. And then you got the young guns at Oklahoma City, and this is their first taste of it, and they're going to be around a while. They are. They are deep. They are loaded. They've got 17 draft picks in the next 7 years. They've got cap room. I mean, they'd have to screw this up at this point to not be a power in this league for the rest of this decade. But this is their first taste of playoff basketball, pressure, and now it'll be a Game 7 Sunday afternoon. The champions from not that long ago with 2 or 3 veterans, and Jokic is basically coaching the team. He's not only the best player, he's basically now coaching the team. And then you got Oklahoma City, who's like, oh boy. Wow, so this is what they've been talking about all those years. Huh. I'm in. I got to admit, I'm in. PGA needs a better leaderboard, or else I'm going to be watching a decent amount Sunday afternoon of Denver OKC.
You know, a phrase I've stolen from you that I'm sure you stole from somebody else, and it's something that people often say, styles make a fight. Well, these are contrasting styles. And when you look at Denver when they're on like they were in the second half last night, they played a great second half, great third quarter. Because Jokic can play in the paint, he can go behind the arc, he can bring the ball up the court if you want. But they get the ball to the hoop. And when you get the ball to the hoop, you get to the free throw line. They shot twice as many free throws last night as did Oklahoma City.
Yeah, you know
That's
why?
not because the referees jobbed Oklahoma City. It's because Denver takes the ball to the basket and Oklahoma City shot 43 pointers last night. Now, OKC did get it inside. Their points in the paint were high, but they shot poorly from behind the arc, 11 of 40 for the game. They got out-rebounded badly by Denver. And Denver was able physically to play a game inside that got them to the line.
Listen, we all understand why they now shoot a lot of threes. We do. It's the simple math. Quite frankly, when Rick Pitino entered the NBA, the Knicks, for the 2 years that he was coaching them in the late 80s, trapped and shot threes, and no one else in the league did. And Pitino just flat looked at the camera and said, so if you shoot 50% from the field, you know, that's a pretty good night, right? And they're like, yeah. And he goes, well, I can match that by shooting 33% from the arc. So if I shoot 35, 36, 38% from the arc, you know what I have to shoot from 2 to match that? And that's why we shoot threes. So that's why they're shooting threes today. They figure they can make 1 of 3. It forces us to shoot over 50% from 2. Yeah, but then there's nights like last night. And this is what drives the old man in me crazy. Okay? Oklahoma City can't hit a 3 if, you know, they couldn't find water if they were standing in it. They shot 26% from the arc. They shot 62% from inside the arc. At what point do you stop shooting threes? Because basically, almost 2 out of every 3 times you go inside the arc, you're scoring. I don't get it. Is anybody paying attention on the bench? So, anyway, got a game 7.
We've got a game 7.
Yeah.
And it could lead, if Denver were to win, to having, a 4 and a 6 in the Western Conference Finals.
Right.
And we have a 4 and, we'll see in the East.
First time all series, they're favored. First time all series, the Knicks are favored entering a playoff game tonight. 2.5-point favorites against the Tatumless Celtics.
I hope, for you and for all Knicks fans' sake, that they get it done tonight. because the pucker they will have if they have to go to Boston for a Game 7 is unbelievable. I mean, you'll watch them all shimmying on the plane because they will be puckered so tightly.
Got a text from a buddy last night who's all into the Subway Series. Mets Yankees beginning tonight. It's a big baseball weekend of interleague play. They're sexiest interleague matchups. That's what's going on this weekend in Major League Baseball. All the rivals playing each other, and then the best matchups they can put together. Okay. And he texts me and he goes, the stadium should be rocking this weekend. And I'm like, dude, I won't pay attention to the Subway Series until that Knicks Celtics series is over. Are you kidding me? You got 120 more games in baseball. This is the biggest home game the Knicks have played in 25 years. Are you serious?
And it does ask the question, why would you put marquee series in baseball before Memorial Day when you still should be getting into the beginning hype of your season, as opposed to having to gimmick your season 40 games in? That's weird to me, David.
Trying to get your attention. Trying to get our attention. You know, Rays, Marlins, Mets, Yankees, White Sox, Cubs, Cardinals, Royals, Houston, Texas. The LA's playing each other. The A's and the Giants playing each other. You know, they tried to put all the rivalries together.
Okay.
Doesn't
I've
sound
got
like
the PGA, the NHL, and the NBA going on this weekend. Oh, yeah, and for me, there's a horse race on Saturday. Thanks for playing interleague play. I'll get up in the morning and look at the box scores.
I'll recap it for you on Monday in the starting five. Is that what you're saying?
For those of you that miss baseball, the starting five, that's next.
Whether you're chasing peak performance, reigniting intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health creates customized game plans to optimize your health. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs and Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for 10% off your service. Find your maximum self with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples, Florida. Call 239-427-3441 today.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. I've been a customer for over a year and cannot say enough good things about their service and communication. If you're a business owner, you can trust Molly Maid to do an exceptional job. Their expert team delivers tailored cleaning for whatever your needs, ensuring a pristine environment for clients and staff. Visit mollymaid.com/FT-Myers or call 239-418-0052. Molly Maid makes my home shine, and it will make your home or business shine too.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I wish I had a prize to give the texter of the day. And I got to call him because this thing still isn't working right. I'm convinced of it. But when he just got a text, throw the records out when the Rays and Marlins get together.
No doubt about it.
It's National Barbecue Day.
Ooh. Favorite barbecue food item?
Yep. All right, I'm going to ask the Twitch chat. If I just go pulled pork, brisket, and ribs, is that good enough, or do I really have to put chicken on there for it to lose?
Run the 3 by me again.
Pulled pork, brisket, ribs. I mean, Texas, they put sausage on the smoker. You know, they put chicken on the smoker, but they're really... It's funny, out of the 3, I'd pick ribs third. It'd be between brisket and pulled pork for me. And I love ribs. I might make ribs this week. That could be Sunday dinner.
Oh, ambient. If it'll be difficult for a Knicks fan, at least for me, if they can't get by the Celtics without Tatum, how am I ever going to believe that this core can get it done? Now, they could still get by the Celtics and lose to the Pacers. And they lost to them last year. Little different team. And OG was hurt, but, you know.
I want the Knicks to win simply because the Boston without Tatum's not a complete team.
Right. Who thought at some point during these playoffs we'd be saying, listen, Boston can't go all the way.
And they might be able to get past Indiana too, but who knows? I will say, Bianchi throws about 4 questions out, or they throw about 4 questions out. I like this one. Who will be better at its next endeavor? Jordan as a broadcaster or Belichick as a college coach?
Oh,
That's, yeah.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes until the top of the hour. Kurt Becker will join us an hour from now. We'll talk a little Preakness, a chance to make some money. Pat Kirwan, the top of our 8 a.m. Eastern hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Coming at you from the Floormeisters studios. Floormeisters, just keeping it real. Before we get to the starting 5, I think you stumbled upon a good topic and a good poll question during the break.
It is. We may need a sports poll question just to balance out the questions, but it's National Barbecue Day. So what's your favorite? Pulled pork, brisket, or ribs? This might be the hardest question I've ever asked of myself because I literally have had 3 different answers. I could, depending on the moment of the day of the week, I could answer any of these. I picked pulled pork. It's probably my favorite barbecue consistently. I love everything about it, but I love brisket. I love ribs. I love them all.
I'm going
Throw some meat on the smoker, and I'm a happy guy.
I'm going brisket for what it's worth. If that's the question, I'm going brisket. So is that going to be the question?
That is the question. The question is up.
Oh,
Miller_Moulton on X. I've reposted it. I'm sure David will do the same very shortly. I'll tell you what, even if you don't like horse racing, I would suggest sticking around for the Kurt Becker interview, because Kurt is one of the nicest guys we have on the show. He is a gentleman. I think the world of Kurt. Would love to meet him face to face. He's been great to us for a lot of years now. And he knows we understand the sport a little bit. He obviously understands that a lot. I have a strange feeling today's interview is going to be as contentious as it's ever been with Kurt, because we're going to bring up things that are out of the box for horse racing. And I am curious as to how he's going to take our suggestions.
But he loves the sport and loves the industry and wants it to be as good as it can be. I don't think he's going to dismiss us as randomly or as harshly as you think he will. We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see.
I'm very much looking forward to today, and I have been for a couple of days, because, again, he's a total gentleman. He's a great guy, and we're not obviously going to be fighting with him, but I'm just curious as to what he thinks, because we have a couple of ideas that are a little out of the box.
That's coming up 1 hour from now. Right now, it's time for
The Starting Five. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is the Starting Five.
We'll start with the PGA, and maybe you've heard of some of these guys. Johnny Vegas. We call him Johnny Vegas. It's formerly Jonathan Vegas. He's a 40-year-old from Venezuela. Been around a while. Hasn't done much lately. Best round at a major in his life yesterday. 3 late birdies. How about a little 7 under 64 post that sucker? Yeah. When most people had stopped watching and ate dinner and moved on to NBA and NHL. Way to go, Jenny. He's got a 2-shot lead over a couple of guys. Alex Smalley is one of those at 4 under. He was the first alternate. He got into the tournament 15 hours before it began. Luke Donald, former number 1 in the world, in the very first group off the tee in the tournament, is 4 under par. I mention him because he's the European Ryder Cup captain, and Keegan Bradley is part of the big group at 3 under, the U.S. Ryder Cup captain.
Well, I tell you, all the pressure that's on the Ryder Cup captains and the obligations that they have, and how difficult it, quite frankly, is to be a Ryder Cup captain. It's amazing they can even pull the club back, David.
For those of you who can't tell, that was tremendous sarcasm. Tongue so firmly planted in cheek, I'm surprised he could get words out. There is no one who thinks that being captain of a Ryder Cup team is more inconsequential than Mark Miller. Okay?
Name me a coach, manager, whatever, that has to do less than one managing golfers.
Mark, I think just coordinating the uniforms every day. What colors are we going with? I mean, much more pressure than you think.
This is like the NCAA. They're event planners, David.
Matt Fitzpatrick joins Keegan Bradley at 3 under, and so did Tyrrell Hatton. Did you catch the F-bomb yesterday?
You know who caught it was Scott Van Pelt, and he had a little difficulty of what he was going to say next, and I couldn't believe it.
I know.
Van Pelt's maybe, I don't know about the funniest, but the loosest guy that there is on, sports network television, a guy that likes to have fun, tell a joke, get into things, and he had nothing for it, David.
He shoots the bull with Stanford Steve at night, and he couldn't handle Tyrrell Hatton's F-bomb.
Right.
Scotty Scheffler in a group at 2 under with Adam Scott and Victor Hovland. Scheffler with a double bogey on a mud ball, and man, was he honked. I don't blame him. Tommy Fleetwood, John Rahm, Tony Finau, Morikawa, Oberg in a group at 1 under. DeChambeau even. Schauffele, the defending champ, 1 over. Rory 3 over and went straight to the range. Didn't talk. Walked right to the range and spent a couple hours there.
Was terrible off the tee yesterday. Couldn't find a fairway. He's the best driver of the golf ball in the game. and he struggled finding the fairway yesterday.
Ricky Fowler, Max Homa, Justin Thomas, among those at 2 over. How about JT's bogey on the final hole? My goodness, playing that shot out of the water. Oh, unreal.
What a shot that was.
Unreal.
I mean, first off, to watch it unfold in live fashion was great. Just he took the shoe off, he went down in the water, ended up saying it's a better stance not being in the water. Still did it with his bare foot, which was funnier than hell.
Right.
And I was mouth agape when he hit that shot, because when whoever the other commentator says he could whiff, and Curtis says, well, I wasn't going to say that, and then described how he would whiff if he whiffed, and he pulled off a hell of a shot.
Scott Van Pelt said, that's incredible. And Curtis goes, no, it's better than that. Justin Neiman, it's a major, so he shot 3 over. Or I'm sorry, not Justin. It's Joaquin, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Koepka 4 over. Why are we listen, I love Koepka. Why are we considering him for the Ryder Cup team? Has anybody watched him play in the last year? Spieth and Masters runner-up Justin Rose at 5 over, DJ 7 over, Phil with 7 bogeys and a triple. And the triple on a par 5 to shoot an 8 over 79. First time in over 30 years that there's not a single top 10 player in the world in the top 10 after the first round of a major. Johnny Vegas with a 2-shot lead heading into round 2, which gets underway in 15 minutes. We'll have a game 7 in the NBA on Sunday at 3:30 because Denver held serve at home. Jokic with 29, Murray, despite being sick, with 25, and they got a third amigo to the party, Christian Braun with 23. So that trio with 77 points to down OKC 119-107. OKC live and die for the 3. They died last night, 11 of 40. Meanwhile, they shot 62% from inside the arc, but keep hoisting them, boys. Keep hoisting them. Nuggets out-rebounded the Thunder by 12. SGA did have 32 in the loss. Game 7, as we mentioned, Sunday, 3:30. Game 6 tonight at Madison Square Garden. Can the Knicks do something they haven't done in 25 years? Advance to the Eastern Conference Finals. Up 3-2. No Jason Tatum for the Celtics. Knicks, for the first time in the series, a betting favorite, 2.5 over Boston. 8 o'clock tonight, 4-letter network. Hockey. Marks Canes eliminated the Caps. Svechnikov with a late goal with under 2 minutes to go to break a tie. Throw in an empty netter. Carolina wins 3-1. They win the series in 5. Panthers will have home ice if Florida beats Toronto tonight. Carolina finished 1 point ahead of Florida in the regular season standings. So Canes would have home ice against Florida. Game 6 tonight at sunrise. Can the Panthers put the Maple Leafs out of their misery? Winnipeg, they're giving themselves a chance, Mark, to win a road game in the playoffs. They're currently 0 for 5. They're going to give it one more shot. They won Game 5 at home against Dallas 4-0. Hollebuck 22 saves, the shutout. Jets scored 3 in the third, 2 on the power play. Dallas leads the series 3-2. They go home to try to wrap things up over the weekend. If Dallas wins, they'll face Edmonton in a rematch of last year's conference final.
So it's a tough spot. Winnipeg's 0-5 on the road, right? They go to Dallas. If they were to win and force a Game 7, that means they would play against Peter DeBoer, the head coach of the Dallas Stars, who's 9-0 in Game 7.
The Jets do have home ice throughout the playoffs, though. They literally could win the cup by only winning one road game, but it needs to happen this weekend. Baseball, only 6 games yesterday. Rays got a Josh Lowe homer in an 8-3 win over the Jays. Braves back to 500. They scored 3 in the 5th. They beat the Nats 5-2. Break up the Twins. And
fire somebody in Baltimore.
And it may be time to break up the Orioles.
Yeah.
2 Twins have won 11 in a row. It's the second time they've swept the Orioles in less than 2 weeks. 4-0 the final. Chris Paddock with 7 shutout innings for Minnesota. The O's are 15-27.
They're only 2 games in the standings better than the Chicago White Sox, folks.
Yikes. Jacob deGrom came back from injury this year. He's looking like Jacob deGrom. 8 shutout innings, Texas over Houston, 1-0. Reds hit 3 homers, including Ellie De La Cruz hitting his 8th. Cincy snapped a 3-game skid, beat the White Sox 7-1. And listen, they love events in L.A. Huge crowd because it was Ohtani bobblehead night. Didn't they already have one of these?
Yeah. I thought it was last year, though. I mean, you probably have one every year. Why not?
Ohtani hit 2 homers and drove in 6 on his bobblehead night, and the Dodgers beat the A's 19-2.
They scored 9 yesterday, right? So that's 28 runs in 2 games for the Dodgers. Okay.
Mark, they had 15 on the board through 4 innings last night. 49ers sold off 6.2% of their team to 3 different families. They did so at a valuation of $8.5 billion. That's the highest valuation ever in a North American franchise. You know, Charles Woodson bought 0.1% of the Cleveland Browns yesterday, paid somewhere between $5 and $6 million for 0.1% of the Browns.
I'm just trying to figure out the valuation of the Anaheim Angels at how much?
No. The Niners.
The 9. Okay, sorry.
It was the San Francisco 49ers. $8.5 billion valuation. By the way, the NFL is going to vote next week whether to allow players to participate in the 2028 Olympics. And the NFL is pushing the owners to allow their players to play. College football, Belichick's going to sit down with Michael Strahan this morning on Good Morning America. I don't think anything bad could happen there. Maryland has a new AD. Yeah, he did spend some time at Ohio State, but this is a former executive with the MLS, the NFL, and Major League Baseball. Welcome to college athletics in the mid-2020s. Jim Smith is his name. I will say, funny tweet by John Sinnott, the SID at Maryland. There was some white steam coming out of, and he said, we have a new AD. We have a new AD.
Well played.
Well played, John. Well played. Preakness, 9-horse field. Journalism's the favorite at 8-5. Sandman, goal-oriented, clever again. River Thames. Okay, we'll talk to Kurt Becker about it in 45 minutes. NASCAR, they've got 2 all-star races at North Wilkesboro this weekend. That'll be a kick to see them back at that short track. And we mentioned it earlier, baseball, big interleague weekend. Cubs, White Sox, Mets, Yankees, Rays, Marlins, the Battle of Missouri with the Cards and the Royals, Dodgers, Angels, a lot going on. Okay. This
like
weekend.
the text we received, you know what they say, throw the record books out when the Rays and Marlins get together.
I really appreciate it when you all just pour on my baseball parade in the baseball hour. And it's 7 minutes left in that hour. That was starting 5. 5 big stories in Air League baseball here on Miller and Moulton.
Big baseball weekend. Rockies, Diamondbacks. Nothing says baseball quite like Rockies, Diamondbacks. Mariners, Padres, another big one. Miller and Moulton. Thanks for listening. Southwest Florida's scorching heat is on its way. Stay cool with Air Advantage. As a proud Rheem Pro partner, Air Advantage delivers top-notch air conditioning solutions to keep you cool and comfortable. Right now, enjoy 18 months, no interest, no payments on qualifying systems. Call 433-4635 today for expert installation and unbeatable comfort all summer long. Online at myairadvantage.com. Air Advantage. Call today, 433-4635. 4635.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Wine glasses never fall over until you get a brand new rug.
Oh, no!
Ketchup bottles act normal till you're wearing a new shirt.
Oh, you kidding me?
And rocks slide peacefully on the road till the day you get a brand new windshield. Then they fly up off the road and attack without mercy. That's why new windshields from Glass Doctor come with our windshield protection plan. Unlimited repairs and one replacement for 12 months. Don't just fix it, protect it. Glass Doctor, a neighborly company.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
We've got a text message for Dr. Dollar. A few of my friends are taking daily Cialis or Viagra. What are the benefits and how much does it cost?
Great question. Cialis, tadalafil, and Viagra, sildenafil are game changer for men who want better performance, stamina, and confidence. They improve blood flow, support long-lasting performance, and help you feel like yourself again. And the best part, at Revitalize Clinic, we make it affordable. Less than $1 per pill. No overpriced prescription, no hassle, just real results, American-made, at the best prices in town. Plus, with early hours starting at 5:30 in the morning, we fit your schedule.
Take control of your health today. Call Revitalize Clinic at 239-277-5770. Visit revitalizelounge.com or text Dr. Dollar directly at 239-980-2302. That's 239-980-2302. Get results. Get confidence. Revitalize Clinic, because every man deserves to perform at his best without breaking the bank. Text Dr. Dollar now at 239-980-2302.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Ambient, though, think of the pressure on your basketball team this weekend. If they lose Sunday, since your baseball team's non-existent, you got nothing to root for 3 months.
You know, Feeney, that's interesting. I was listening to a little NFL radio yesterday, and they were really getting into that Niners schedule and how easy it is. But I just don't know how good that, they had a lot of injuries, but they lost so many players from that team already. That's a different team. We don't do numbers this early. We got to get to double digits before we start doing numbers. And I don't think we're there yet.
No, Memorial Day, I think the Tuesday after Memorial Day is 100 days to the NFL season opener. We got to get out of triple digits before we start doing them. Thank you, Paula.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Friday. Pat Kirwan 1 hour from now. Kurt Becker with a conversation that I think you're really going to enjoy, even if the subject matter is not something that you give a whole heck of a lot about. We'll talk some Preakness, chance for you to win some money. He picked the Derby winner. And Miller and Moulton have a couple of ideas, and we're going to throw it at this longtime horseman and see whether or not he continues to come on our show or whether or not he actually likes it. So Kurt Becker in about 35 minutes' time. Hey, I have a serious question.
Okay.
So you got money. Pretend you've got money.
I pretend every day. This will be easy for me.
Okay. No,
by the way, quick, before you get going, on that note,
yes,
if you're looking to make a great investment with your marketing dollars, nothing could be a better investment than Miller and Moulton. Text sponsor to 21,000 right now if you've texted before. If you haven't, then you need to text Miller to 21,000. Follow that with sponsor, and I could possibly have money one day so I could answer this question honestly. Sorry, David. Go ahead.
Very smooth, Mark. Very smooth. So you've got money. You played in the NFL for over 15 years, and you're a Hall of Famer, and you have a successful, I think it's whiskey business, wine and whiskey. So you've got money. You're worth tens of millions. You might even be worth 9 figures. Say you're, I don't know, Charles Woodson. Would you buy 0.1% of an NFL team? Because apparently the I's have not been dotted and the T's crossed, but the deal is worked out that Charles Woodson, a native of Ohio, is going to buy 0.1% of the Cleveland Browns. He has to, however, agree to the same broadcast restrictions as Brady, even though Brady owns far more than 0.1% of the Raiders. How much, though, we don't really know. And this, to me, Mark, might be the deal breaker. He has to take his name off of his wine and whiskey business because it violates the NFL policy on alcohol. To own 0.1% of the Browns. Now, I'll say this. The Browns today are valued at right around $5 billion. So 0.1% is $5 million. Well, what if 5-10 years from now, with the way these franchises are being valued, what if all of a sudden the Browns go from a $5 billion franchise to a $7 billion franchise? Now you've made $2 million.
I mean, David, I don't believe that Charles Woodson's doing this from the investment standpoint of looking to make money. He apparently wants to be an owner of a team. I don't get it. His wine business is very successful.
Yes. And don't you think part
it's
of it?
really good wine? Like if I'm not mistaken, one of his Chardonnays got a pretty damn good rating from like Wine Spectator. It's legit wine. And this all stems from the fact that he played for the Raiders. The Raiders held training camp. I don't know if they still do, but they've had training camp for years in Napa.
Mm-hmm.
And that's as a player where he was introduced to wine, like the culture, like the scene, ended up getting into the wine business. From that has gotten into the whiskey business. He is removing his names from both of those companies from a marketing standpoint. He can still own those companies. It just can't be
right.
Woods, I think the 24 by Charles Woodson is the wine company. And it's Woodson's Whiskeys, I believe, or Woodson Whiskey. So I wouldn't for 0.1% of an NFL franchise. Put it this way, I would think that $5 million just in a standard interest-bearing account might make him more than his investment in the NFL team. But good for him. If that's the direction he wants to go in, good for him.
But I knew you'd know a little bit about the wine, right? And, I saw one of those, profiles on Charles Woodson post-playing and all that, a football life that they did. And they spent some time with him and his alcohol-related businesses and the pride he had. And I knew his name was on them. And I'm thinking, well, that's got to help sell these wines and whiskeys. You're going to take your name off of it?
Right. I tried years ago, might have been Act 1, Act 2. I tried pretty hard to get Woodson on the show because I had some inner workings with some people that I had met when I was out in Napa, and we were trying to maneuver and say, hey, we want him for football, but we'll talk about his wine. That's no problem. We had Drew Bledsoe talking about his, I think, double back wines that he owns in the state of Washington. So We've got no issue with them promoting their business. On a side note, by the way, I didn't realize this because Junior Bridgman passed a while ago and all the Wendy's that he owned, and a lot came up with his net worth. He was worth 9 figures. I mean, he did really well post-playing. Do you know who else has done really well post-playing that you wouldn't maybe imagine did? Vinnie Johnson, the microwave from the Pistons, got into the parts business and automobile and owns a company that produces parts. He's worth 9 digits.
Good for Vinny.
Right. Who knew?
Because also he didn't play in the obscene money NBA days.
Right. Neither did Richmond. I mean, neither did Woodson really. He played at the beginning of it, but by the time he was done, the money's not nearly as obscene as it is now.
On a very personal note, I love any time Charles Woodson can make the news because I hope my good friend Gary Danielson is listening. Because the very first time that Gary fired me, and it's a joke, that he has fired me about 15 times over the 20 years that we've worked together, is when I told him that I voted for Woodson for the Heisman over Peyton Manning. And I don't know if we were at a lunch or a dinner together, but we were like working. I think we were about to do the game. We might have been at like the breakfast. We're like doing the game in 3 hours. And somehow, I don't know, the Heisman and came up and, he made a comment like Peyton should have won. I looked right at him. I said, give me a break. I voted for Woodson in front of everybody. He said, you're fired. So any time I get to talk about Charles Woodson, I hope my good friend Gary Danielson is listening. And, once again, Charles Woodson, I mean, he doesn't, obviously Peyton's worth a few more bucks. But, I just, it's my vote. Saw like every Michigan game that year. I was living in Fargo. We got all the Big Ten stuff. Just, and plus I saw Peyton play against Florida early in the season. Said, I'm like, come on, you got to be kidding me. So
unbelievable. Unbelievable. Still to this day, it's unbelievable.
So I'm a big fan of Charles Woodson.
Oh, you've always liked defense, David.
Well, that's true. That's true. There might have been a little bias involved there, but hey, Peyton's team did win the SEC that year. I mean, Woodson's team won the Natty. Just saying.
Since you brought up college football, I'm going to bring up a text that we just received.
Okay.
21,000's a text line. If you haven't texted in a while, the keyword's Miller, then text as much as you would like. As I've mentioned in the past couple of days, there is something going on with the company we hired to do the text line. I worry that I'm not getting your text. In fact, I know I'm not getting all of them. So feel free to just try to break this machine, if you know what I mean. But this one came through. And it was just we had not talked about this. We hadn't brought it up at all. But you brought up college football, so I thought I would share the text because this, to me, shows you how the sports fan, particularly the football fan, is thinking this time of year. We've talked baseball. We've talked the Preakness. We've talked the PGA. We've talked the NBA. We have talked the NHL. And that spurred this text. I was looking for your thoughts. I'm a Gators fan. I'm biased like most sports fans, but I feel like I'm semi-realistic. I know that a 6-6 season this season is certainly possible. But do you think a 9-3 season with that schedule is possible? They look good down the stretch. They can be a good team and go 7-5 with that schedule. I'll hang up and listen. LOL. I appreciate the entire text that he didn't give a damn what our show was about. But here we are mid-May, and damn it, I need to know what your thoughts are about the Gators right now. Here's what I will say, and I know David will back me up with this. They enter the season with the second best quarterback in the SEC.
I've seen some places have them ranked third or fourth. I'm willing to go Nussmeier and Lagway. The South Carolina kid, has shown something. So I've seen some places where he's as low as fourth, but they have one of the best and one of the few returning quarterbacks, albeit he only played a handful of games.
So I looked through the schedule, and I agree with the texter that I think 9 is the ceiling for the Florida Gators. If everything goes right, I think 9-3 could happen. But that means you better get LSU or Miami on the road weeks 3 or 4. Means that Ole Miss hopefully has fallen off with all the players they recruited last year and lost a lot to graduation with that team they built to try to get to the playoff. Can you pull off the big upset in Jacksonville? What's the game that the Gators are going to get that they're an underdog in? Because they will not be favored in 9 games. I don't know if they'll be favored in many more than 6.
All right, quickly. I do love our audience. That's why we have Pat Kirwan on as often as we can, because you guys just can't get enough football.
No.
So, they're going to beat LIU. They're probably going to beat South Florida. They'll be 2-0. To me, Mark, they have 2 splits then coming. They're at LSU and at Miami.
Right.
Got to get a split.
Get one. I'm with you.
Then they host Texas and they're at A&M. Got to split with the Texas schools.
That's 4 wins.
Okay,
they get Mississippi State, that's 5.
Right. And then they're 5-2 going to the cocktail party. Let's give them a loss, okay, until they prove otherwise. They're 5-3. Kentucky, Ole Miss. Now, both on the road, but Kentucky and Ole Miss. Come on.
And I don't think Ole Miss is going to be obviously not nearly as good as they were a year ago.
No, that'll probably be close to a pick'em spread. Then they're home for Tennessee and home for Florida State. So, can they? Yeah. Yeah, they can. Well, they got to get the 2 splits or else. Kurt Becker in 25 minutes, Miller and Moulton.
Miller and Moulton would like to thank the sponsors that, quite frankly, saved the show in 2024. Whether it was Floor Meisters, American Paint Supplies, Glass Doctor, Molly Maid, Cigar Bar, Sleep Treatment Direct, the Diamond District, and even the Cape Coral Police Department, thank you. We're hopeful of a great 2025, still needing sponsors, so reach out to Miller and Moulton via X at that Mark Miller or the David Moulton, or text us at 21,000. But Miller and Moulton says thank you to our sponsors and to you, our loyal listeners.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Do you have a sleep problem but don't want to wear a CPAP mask? This is Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. The mask wasn't working for me, and I didn't think I had an alternative. I do. We all do. They have such simple alternatives with greater success than the mask. Visit sleeptreatmentdirect.com. That's sleeptreatmentdirect.com. And if you are like me and your CPAP machine isn't working for you, it's time for a change. Call 239-444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Yeah, PJAD, it's 0.1%. He's not buying 1% of the Browns. He's buying 0.1%. And you're right, because if the franchise is valued at $5 billion, 10% is $500 million, 1% is $50 million, 0.1% is $5 million. No. That's why we brought up PJ for 0.1%. Would you agree to have to take your name off your whiskey and wine business? No, that's okay. But that's why, we found it, interesting also to spend a few $1 million for 0.1% of something. It's an interesting decision. Agreed, RCB, but they shouldn't lose to them. I mean, if they're going to be preseason top 25 and they're home, they shouldn't lose.
David, by chance, do you have anything cool? All I've got is a left-handed golf shot. It really isn't a very cool story. It's a nice story. I got nothing. Nothing, I tell you.
I think the coolest thing I saw yesterday was the NFL Goodell pushing the owners to allow the players to participate in the Olympics.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Kurt Becker at a little more than 15 minutes. Pat Kirwan at the top of the 8 a.m. Eastern hour. We got a game 6 tonight at sunrise. Can the Panthers win 4 straight, eliminate the Leafs, lead to just a franchise being imploded north of the border? We'll have plenty of time to get to that. But also it would put the Panthers for the 3rd year in a row back in the conference finals. They would face Carolina. Carolina would have home ice. Not that that really means anything to the Panthers with their style of play. They travel well, to say the least. We also have a game 6 tonight in New York. Can the Knicks do something they haven't done in 25 years? They had this opportunity twice last year against Indiana in the second round to win a game and advance to the conference finals. Couldn't do it. They've already missed one opportunity against Boston. Now tonight they're at home. 2.5-point favorites against the Tatumless Celtics. A win, and they'll face the Pacers in the conference finals. Will they get it done? Or will things get a little tight?
I wonder if what's the actor that Timothy Chalamet is going to be there, because Jenner, she went on vacation, so he might be able to enjoy the game without having to deal with her.
Having to constantly explain what's going on. Is that
Right.
what you're saying?
It's been funny because I've seen, they've shown some of it on TV, but you've gotten me into the post, and the clips that they show of him into the game. I mean, he's a fan.
Yes.
He may be a superstar actor, but in his heart, he's a Knicks fan.
Right.
And he's just happy. When you asked if you had all the money, he's happy that he has all the money so he can get the front row seats.
Totally.
And he's having the time of his life, and she looks bored.
Right. She's there to be seen. Kind of, hey, I'm kind of liking you. All right, I'll go to this game with you. We're going someplace nice afterwards, right? Yep. So we got the 2 game 6s tonight. Hockey, Florida, basketball, New York.
Time for the coolest thing we've seen today. David and I each have a nomination. It's brought to you by Air Advantage. Air Advantage, call them today at 433-4635. They are offering 18 months, no interest, no payments. They're a Ream Pro partner. Their website is myairadvantage.com. So whether it's service or a new unit, it's the time of the year where you better have your air conditioning checked out, because it's going to get pretty hot pretty soon. Air Advantage. Check them out, myairadvantage.com. The one thing that I saw that I kind of liked, but, it's a tour that some of you, you'd have to be a golf geek. I don't even know if Moulton's heard of the Epson Tour.
I have.
Congratulations.
That's the feeder tour for the women, right?
You are right.
Yep.
And Laura Wern finished last week with an eagle. It's not that she finished with an eagle that's good. You were talking about JT's shot. On a par 5 hole, she hit a 6-iron into the green. She was short of the green, and she nearly hit the ball in the water. And instead of standing in the water and choking down on a club or trying to stand close to the ball, she flipped over a wedge and hit the shot left-handed. And she says she's hitting lefty shots before, but when she heard someone in the crowd say, hey, she's going lefty, she was like, am I really doing something that stupid? And she said her main goal at that point was to not duff it in the water. She flipped the club over, hit a perfect shot, and holed it for an eagle 3. That's cool by me. But what do you got, David? Because I like yours a little bit better.
Well, there were a couple. First off, I was going to nominate the Colts schedule release video, but then they stepped over the line. They poked fun at literally every team in the league. And obviously every team on their schedule. And it was quite funny and entertaining. They stepped over the line with Tyreek about him getting arrested, week 1 last year, and that's who they opened with. And so, but they apologized, and Tyreek apparently laughed. Okay, through his agent, Drew Rosenhaus, he said, I saw it. I thought it was funny.
Let's see. Did Tyreek get arrested? Yes.
He did.
If you don't want the joke to happen, here's an idea. Don't get arrested.
So did you hear about the other thing that I was going to nominate? Granted, it's a personal bias of mine. I want the NFL to allow their players to play in the 2028 Summer Olympics. And right now they don't have permission to. Well, apparently they're going to vote like next week. And Goodell is pushing the owners to allow the players to play. And he specifically is like, listen, I want them on our flag football team. I think it'd be great for the league. Worldwide exposure. So that was cool. Did you hear about the U.S. Women's Open qualifier in Naples, I believe it was. Okay, Wednesday morning, there was a 7-for-1 playoff for one spot in the U.S. Women's Open. Okay. Aline Crowder birdied the first extra hole, but ended up being in the first alternate position. What made it brutal, however, was that 9 players on Tuesday, the final round of qualifying, got a slow play penalty, a one-shot slow play penalty, and she was one of them. So when play ended on Tuesday, she was in the U.S. Women's Open. Then, and she was not the slow play player in the group, but if one person in the group is the slow play player, the whole threesome gets penalized. So she gets the one-shot penalty. It puts her in the playoff. She ends up not being in the Open. She ends up being, an alternate. They basically said, yeah, you're in. You're in, and we got 2 other spots that I guess people can still qualify their way in. There's going to be at least, one other LPGA tournament and what have you. So anyway, I thought what was a heartbreaking story. You had qualified for the U.S. Women's Open, and because someone in your group can't move it along, you get a slow play penalty, and now you're not in. And then she birdies the playoff hole, and they put her in.
Cool. Very cool. MyAirAdvantage.com, MyAirAdvantage.com. As was pointed out to me on the text line, Tyreek was detained, not arrested. I apologize to the Hill family. He's an upstanding citizen, and I should have never made a disparaging comment. Now, as this point did say, he says that specific time he didn't get arrested because Tyreek has, a little bit of a history.
A little bit. Quote Robert De Niro whenever we can. A little bit.
Miller and Moulton, 2100 is the text line. Kurt Becker coming up in a handful of minutes to talk the Preakness. Pat Kirwan to talk the National Football League. Big sports weekend with the playoffs in the NBA and the NHL going on. Obviously, the PGA is at the top of a lot of your mind. The Preakness on Saturday. And as David pointed out earlier, a big baseball weekend with a lot of really good interleague series, including Rays and Marlins.
Now, was that tongue-in-cheek, or were you actually trying to give it the old college try there?
Everything was a college try until the end, and I couldn't help myself.
It was when you threw in the Rays Marlins, that's when I thought you derailed.
You're right. I couldn't get through the whole thing.
Obviously, it's going to get a lot of attention, but it's Juan Soto going back to Yankee Stadium, wearing the different uniform, and they're going to yell nasty things at him.
I hope he has a monster weekend. I hope he and Judge put on a show. I hope between the two of them, they hit 6 home runs this weekend. I really do.
Here's my question, and I'm being serious. If you're the Yankees, at some point tonight, do you hit them?
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Whether you're chasing peak performance, reigniting intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health creates customized game plans to optimize your health. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs and Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for 10% off your service. Find your maximum self with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples, Florida. Call 239-427-3441 today.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com.
Summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
This is Miller and Moulton. Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes until Pat Kirwan will join us at the top of the hour. Thanks so much for being with us on this Friday. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. He is the prestigious track announcer at Keeneland. He's been a part of the Horse Racing Radio Network for many a year. He is Kurt Becker. Follow him on X at Becker Trackside. Becker Trackside. Kurt, David, and Mark, good morning. How are you?
All is well, gentlemen. Good to be back on the show with you.
All right. You say that now, but you don't know the questions and topics we're about to bring you. We think we're going to put our very cordial relationship in jeopardy because Miller and Moulton want to change the sport of horse racing. You know Mark's suggestion. Mark, lay it out there again.
Well, I've said it for years. I've said it to you, and you've always been against it. But after Sovereignty takes the Derby off, and I'll give whatever the trainer and owner's reasons, I'll take them for whatever they are. But the sport has obviously changed. We do not run horses as much as we used to. We used to have the Bluegrass Stakes, I think 7 days before the Derby, for crying out loud. So 2 weeks to me is too short. This needs to be a May, June, July. The sport's evolved. The breeding patterns have evolved. And to me, it's time to make this change because we can't have the Derby winner not running in the Preakness, Kurt.
My response to that is the same as it has always been. The Triple Crown Series is not meant to be easy. It is meant to be difficult. It is meant to be a challenge. Bill Mott is a very conservative trainer. I've always said that in human terms, if a horse has a hangnail, he's going to put it on the shelf for 6 to 8 weeks. And I respect that. But I still maintain that one doesn't start changing the nature of the series to try to get horses to run in each leg. I think that is just a backhanded way of trying to make it easier to accomplish the goal.
Okay. And Kurt, my idea is even more radical, if you will. I believe that if your horse is good enough to gain entry into the field at the Kentucky Derby, whatever paperwork it is that you're signing, it needs to say, barring a legitimate injury, comma, in which we can have neutral, folks examine the horse after the race. Kurt, the sport, the industry needs the Derby winner in the Preakness. I really think it should be in the paperwork. Barring an injury, if you win the Derby, you must enter the Preakness, and I'm willing to go so far as to say, if you don't enter the Preakness, I don't even want you in the Belmont.
Well, the challenge with that is if I'm a trainer and my horse wins the Derby, and then I say, look, I'm not going, and well, now you signed something that says, barring a legitimate injury, your state commission vet might say my horse is fine. My vet might say, nope, I don't agree. So then at that point, if the sport has the authority to overrule my vet to force that horse into the gate, and then there is a problem, oh my, then if you want to talk about bad public relations,
right,
that's what you're going to have. The other point people have been making to me, I've heard the point made that if it were this important for the sport to have the Derby winner in the Preakness, that they point back to American Pharaoh and Justify, and I've heard the point made, while it was lovely to have a couple of Triple Crown winners, there are those who insist overall it did nothing for the long-term residual good of the sport. It was great, but that the idea that a Triple Crown winner or seeing the Derby winner in the Preakness somehow is something that we've got to have. They will point to those examples and say it was, even with a Triple Crown winner, it was a fleeting moment.
And one of the things, and I'll poke holes in my own argument of moving it month to month, I'm actually impressed that journalism and Sandman are running in the Preakness because, Kirk, as you well know, there are a lot of years where the Derby winner's going to the Preakness facing a brand new set of horses that didn't run in the Derby. So I'm at least encouraged by the fact that two of the Derby favorites are now running in the Preakness after losing the Derby, which in the last decade's been pretty rare, Kurt.
I think that's a great point. And my school of thought is if journalism comes out and wins the Preakness tomorrow, now all of a sudden that does build the case that one could make the case that you can run a horse back on 2 weeks rest. More so if journalism would win tomorrow, and if he would come back and beat Sovereignty in a few weeks in the Belmont at Saratoga, that debate's going to get really, really good.
Kurt Becker, the voice of racing at Keeneland, Horse Racing Radio Network. Follow him on X at Becker Trackside, Becker Trackside. 9-horse field, right, for the Preakness?
Correct.
And it looks, at least by the odds, that they think 5 of them have pedigree, and then we got 3-4 others that fill out the field. Is that an accurate assessment?
That is.
Okay. Journalism and Sandman, as Mark brought up, those that are less than 10-1, goal-oriented, Clever Again, and River Thames. Tell us about them.
Well, goal-oriented is a Bob Baffert horse, so he's going to take some money. This horse has made only 2 starts. He's won 2 lower level races. He's never even been in the stakes. I don't see him being a factor. Clever Again from the barn of Steve Asmussen. That's the new face here. That this is the wise guy horse. So many people, so many experts are pointing to him saying he's the one. He's fresh. He's been dazzling. My problem with that is his biggest win was a minor stakes race at Oaklawn Park. Yeah, he looked really good. He won by 5 or 6 lengths, but he didn't beat anybody that day. He's not faced this level. I think of those that you mentioned, River Thames could be the most interesting, and here's why. He was runner-up by a neck to Sovereignty, the Derby winner, back in February or early March in the Fountain of Youth down at Gulfstream Park. He's from the barn of Todd Pletcher. Todd's not had a lot of success in the Preakness, but here's what's different. Todd's usually got 3 or 4 horses in the Derby. This year, he had no horses in the Derby. He's had all kinds of time to focus on this horse, to prep this horse for the Preakness. So I think of the 3 you mentioned, River Thames would be the one, based on his runner-up to Sovereignty by a neck a few weeks ago, a couple of months ago. He's the one that intrigues me the most.
And as Kurt said, Todd Pledger, not a lot of luck in the Preakness, actually 0 for 10 in the Preakness. What happened? I picked Sandman in the Derby. He lost. Was it the mud? Was it the run? What do you know going into the Preakness about Sandman? Because he likes to come from behind. Obviously, this is a shorter race. It doesn't bode well for a come-from-behind horse.
It really doesn't. You're exactly right. And Pimlico traditionally has been known as a speed-favoring track. That's another reason so many people like Clever again, because he likely will go out and set the pace. As far as Sandman, I think if you look at the chart from the Kentucky Derby, he maybe ran better than people gave him credit for. He did come from deep in the pack to be seventh, but journalism and Sovereignty came from as deep or deeper in the case of Sovereignty and ran 1-2. Maybe if I'm going to give Sandman a benefit of the doubt, I've heard horsemen say nobody loves the mud. There's no horse that likes it. There's some that just hate it more than others, or some that hate it less than others. I think maybe the horse hated the mud, but still ran a respectable race. But of course, guys, the problem for Sandman, if he doesn't like mud, there is a forecast today and tomorrow for showers and thunderstorms in Baltimore.
Great. Outstanding. It sounds like it's journalism's race to lose.
I agree. And here's why I agree with that assessment. I think that this is a legitimately good crop of 3-year-olds. The Derby was a pretty formful type of race. The horses that ran 1, 2, 3, I believe, were truly the 3 best in the Derby. Maybe not necessarily in that exact order, but I think that the best really came forward in the Derby, and I think this could be that kind of year. As a result, I think the Preakness is journalism's race to lose. Too many people are getting too cute trying to beat this horse, hence all the obsession with Clever again. And I think people are just trying to talk themselves into thinking somebody can beat him. I don't think he loses. I thought he ran huge at Churchill, and I think journalism wins the Preakness.
All right, is there any money to be made in the Black-Eyed Susan today? Because journalism, as you said, is the betting favorite. The Fillies run today. Any money to be made there?
You know, that's an excellent question, and I would say yes, if only for the fact it seems like the Black-Eyed Susan is always a wild card kind of race. Anymore? Okay, you touched on this right at the top, that most horses don't run back in 2 weeks anymore, and as a result, you seldom see fillies that ran in the Kentucky Oaks come back and run in the Black-Eyed Susan. And that always seems to be a race where there's a lot of good stables, good trainers, well-bred fillies, but they're perhaps unproven commodities. And I think just based on that alone, somebody could pop up at a decent price.
Are we done talking about the future of Pimlico, or is that still a thing?
I don't know what to think there. I get it. Times change. Man, I hate to lose Pimlico if that track ever goes away. I'm a sucker for history. The Preakness, with just a few limited exceptions back in the 1890s, it's been run every year since 1873 over that same strip of real estate. But man, I'm glad I don't have to make that decision.
But the place is, I mean, we view Pimlico as kind of like it's our corner bar. It's a dump.
Yes.
We can call it a dump, but an outsider can't call it a dump. I mean, the media is having fun with, apparently there's been a press elevator that's been on its last legs forever and it's finally given way. Well, it hasn't been repaired. Okay, so I'm just wondering, I mean, is the place so broken down that they're going to have to leave?
No, I don't think it is. And look, I find that to be part of the charm of the place. And here's what I mean. When I would work with network radio at the Preakness, our broadcast booth was a cinder block type of construction on the roof of the grandstand. The old suspended ceiling tiles were discolored from leaks, from rain over the years. And you know what, guys? I loved it. Maybe it's because I started out on the so-called leaky roof county fair circuit in the Midwest years ago. I frankly, sometimes I get tired of the multi-bazillion-dollar modern-day sports stadium. I kind of like a step back in time, but I know not everybody agrees.
All right, I'm guessing you're taking journalism. If not, who are you taking? And if it's journalism, who do you have him on top of?
I have got journalism on top. We were talking about River Thames. I'm going to throw him into the exacta, and to round out the trifecta at a price 20-1 on the morning line. I like Gosker, the horse that breaks on the far outside. He won a graded stake at Keeneland a few weeks ago. His trainer, Brendan Walsh, has been red hot this spring. I don't think Gosker can win, but I think he could definitely hit the top three.
Oh, you had an up-close first-hand scouting report there. Yeah. Love it.
He looked good. He looked good.
Kurt Becker, you sound good. Have a great weekend. Thanks, as always, for everything, and we'll certainly catch back up in 3 weeks, if not sooner.
Fellas, always a pleasure. Thank you, and everybody enjoy the Preakness.
Kurt Becker, the voice of racing at Keeneland, Horse Racing Radio Network. All right, kind enough to join us. Becker Trackside is how you follow him on X, Becker Trackside.
Just shot both of us down.
He
laughed
did.
us right off.
He did, but I think he wants to join us at our dump of a watering hole.
No doubt there. No doubt there, especially if they have TVG on the television. We can bet some races. If you want to watch the Black Eyed Susan, it's at 4:30 today. You have to stream it on Peacock for what it is worth. Twin Spires is the way to bet horses in the state of Florida. The Hard Rock app does not have horse wagering. The Twin Spires app does. My account has a few dollars left after a bad Derby.
All right. Well, good luck. Are you going to ride journalism?
I'll do something. I'll do something.
You like to bet the fillies, though, so I know you'll throw a few shekels on today's race.
Pat Kirwan coming up next. Miller and Moulton, vote on our poll question. It's National Barbecue Day. Ribs, brisket, or pulled pork? Go to Miller_Moulton on X. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Wine glasses never fall over until you get a brand new rug.
Oh, no!
Ketchup bottles act normal till you're wearing a new shirt.
Oh, you kidding me?
And rocks slide peacefully on the road till the day you get a brand new windshield. Then they fly up off the road and attack without mercy. That's why new windshields from Glass Doctor come with our windshield protection plan. Unlimited repairs and one replacement for 12 months. Don't just fix it, protect it. Glass Doctor, a neighborly company.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floormeisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floormeisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floormeisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
We've got a text message for Dr. Dollar. I feel tired, sluggish, and just not myself. I'm gaining weight, my energy is low, and I've lost my drive. Could it be low testosterone?
Absolutely. Testosterone naturally declines over time, but you don't have to accept it. Low T can affect your energy, strength, mood, and focus. But here's the good news. Testosterone replacement therapy, TRT, can help restore your vitality and get you back to feeling your best. Imagine waking up strong, sharp and energized, ready to take on the day like you used to. At Revitalize Clinic, we specialize in physician-guided, American-made TRT designed just for you.
Take control of your health today. Call Revitalize Clinic at 239-277-5770. Visit revitalizelounge.com or text Dr. Dollar directly at 239-980-2302. Feel like yourself again. Testosterone replacement therapy, because your best years aren't behind you, they're just getting started. Text Dr. Dollar now at 239-980-2302.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Hey, Pat.
Hey, how are you, man?
Good. How are you?
Good. Yeah. Everything good?
No issues. Things are good.
Just remember you said that, because when it's bad, you can't remember those days.
Nope. Exactly right. Exactly right.
I tell my wife all the time, every time you have one of those great days, tell yourself that 100 times during the day, because you might need the strength of it later.
Oh, trust me, I know. I had one of those yesterday. I'm still trying to. I would help a gal buy a house we were supposed to close yesterday. Some funding didn't go through. I've been scrambling, so I get it.
Yeah.
They're all an adventure.
Funding's not going through.
You fired up for your hockey weekend?
Yes. Come on now. I swear to God, I feel like a Yankee fan back in the great era. Like, I just expect all the way to the end every time. Maybe a Patriot fan. It just feels like, and I didn't think this team was very good. I will tell you this, though, and they keep proving it. They are by far the most physical team in this league.
Well, and Pat, the irony of ironies, because during the first, what have they been around now? 27 years?
Yeah.
And I would say for probably the first 2/3 of their existence, at least the first half of their existence, the legitimate criticism of the Blades was they had more than enough skill, but they weren't gritty enough. They weren't tough enough.
Well, they're the opposite of that now. It is really, and it's not one or two guys. They all are in it, and they don't mind rumbling around. And I think the opponents know it's coming. It is amazing. They went out and found those kind of guys.
Oh, I mean, if it looks, I mean, I have no idea. Are they playing Quebec? Is that who they're playing now? Or is
yes. Yeah.
It's, I mean, I don't care what damn league you're in. I don't care the fact that, Craig pays his team the way the Dodgers pay their team. Still got to win the last damn game.
Yeah. It always comes down to that. Craig, he does fascinate me. That he's got it, his little world. He's built for himself. He's good at it. I don't know him that well. My wife knows him and his wife way better than I do.
Right.
But whenever I see him, he's running between periods. I really, once in a while, he doesn't play golf at West Bay. He plays golf at some other course.
Yeah, he was a member. He was a member at Everglades for years, but I don't know if he still is. I don't know where he plays, but I know he never had a golf membership at West Bay.
Nope, he doesn't. I think I see him riding his bike once in a while, but I'm not going to flag him down.
Right.
But we had a mutual friend, which turned out to be interesting. The guy that I really liked a lot who passed away was with them on that Cornell team when they won the national championship.
Gotcha. Yeah, he's very proud of that.
Yeah, man, he sure is. And the guy that I was very close to, Bob Rule, probably told you about him. He was the goalie on Cornell's national lacrosse championship.
Huh.
And when there was no backup, and he played hockey in high school, and then he was a tremendous lacrosse player, but then they didn't have a backup goalie, and he came out. He was the backup goalie for the national championship.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
We are halfway home in the 239 and the 904, final hour of the show and of our week in Lake City, Live Oak and surrounding areas, Port Charlotte, Venice and surrounding areas. Thanks so much for being with us, Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Our poll question today is National Barbecue Day. Is that it, Mark?
That's it, National Barbecue Day.
And so you got the big three, right?
Pulled pork, brisket, and ribs.
I went brisket. Mark went pulled pork. Based on the reactions that I'm seeing in the Twitch chat room, that everybody's voting ribs. So vote accordingly. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X. Pat, you have to answer the poll question before we get to football. What's your barbecue item of choice?
Well, it's why we've been together for 20 years, the three of us. I'll take the ribs. That's each one of us has got something different, which adds a little flavor to the show.
No doubt. That pretty much sums it up in a nutshell.
Yes.
All right. I know, Pat, I know you don't care necessarily about the schedule because you just look at, you're a football guy. Who do we play week 1? When are the short weeks? But when you see Kansas City with 7 standalone primetime games, the Cowboys miraculously getting far too many. But just specifically about the Chiefs, this is now 3-4 years in a row in which they've done this. Is it a matter now of their being used to it, or does it get harder when you have to play a schedule that, quite frankly, hardly any of your games are Sunday at 1?
I'm going to use a coach answer to this because I had a friend on the staff when Mahomes came onto the scene and everyone realized pretty quickly that he was going to be a great player. My friend who went to Andy and said, well, I really missed a lot of 1 o'clock games. And Andy turned around and said, get used to it. We're going to be on prime time all the time with this guy. And Andy doesn't care. And he likes the limelight of it all, and he thinks his team earned it. The fans complain to me a lot. I don't know how many Chief fans you get, but we get a lot of them, and they're already mad about having the Brazil game and lots of other things and night games, and it's such a conflict there because they can't even vote in keeping the stadium. It's amazing how great they are. But there are things I would say about the schedule, not to bore this subject, but when I see Philly not getting 6 games, and again, Dallas does, that's my old gripe, but it hasn't gone away. The world champions got 5, and the Cowboys got 6. But the Cowboys are going to get their comeuppance in that schedule. I'm sure you've gone over that murder. We have a new definition of murderer's row, and that is Dallas.
Hold on a second. You think, the last 7 games that the Cowboys play? I think all the teams had 11 or more wins last year. So we now think the Cowboys' closing stretch this year is harder than the Steelers' final 8 games were last year?
I don't know if I believe that. I don't think that the Steelers were much of a team at the end. Watt was playing on one leg. I saw rookie tackles blocking him with no help and no problem. The big man on defense inside is old and tired. The quarterback thing was upside down. Najee Harris couldn't break away a run. I don't know if I'd say that, but I do think that stretch of games that, to me, I'm kind of glad. Now, I might watch all those just to see. And I'll ask you guys. First, I'll make my comment. When they go Philly, Kansas City, Detroit, Minnesota, Chargers, and Washington, I'm going to say they go 2-4. How about you guys?
I think that'd be pretty solid if they went 2-4. I think that would be pretty darn solid. If they pull 2-4 out of that, that's doing so. That means that Dallas is better than many people thought they were.
Okay. Are you saying 1 win or no wins, Mark?
I'm saying 1.
1. And David?
I'll go with 2 just because of the schedule. I know that some of those games are all, short weeks and what have you. So I'll say it, I'll say they can get 2. I don't think they're going to be a good team this year. I don't think they're going to finish with a winning record, but the NFL regular season schedule is a marathon. I say they get 2.
Yep. here's the only two things I'll say as my official complaints. I'm frustrated by doubleheaders on Monday night. And I told some of West Coast callers yesterday, I said, listen, do me a favor. The Charger-Raider game and the Houston-Seattle game that's coming on at 10 p.m. Eastern, I'm not staying up for that one. So call in the day after and tell me how the game went. Those doubleheaders on Mondays, I don't get it. And the thing I think I dislike the most is 10 division games on Thursday night. I do not like that.
Well, and the NFL went with a lot more week one division games than they normally go with also. Just talking the NFL with Pat Kerwin. So we mentioned a team going from basically not being a good team and getting a lot of 1 o'clock Sunday kickoffs to all of a sudden now you're good and we're going to feature you. Well, the Washington Commanders are the poster child for that.
Yes.
We argued, Pat, that the second most important person in the league besides Mahomes is Jaden Daniels, because he needs to stay healthy, because they have 8 standalone games, 2 on Thursdays, 2 on Sundays, 2 on Mondays. They're in Madrid and they're in that Saturday pre-Christmas doubleheader. So at least half their schedule, they're the only game in town coming off a 12-win season. Is Washington ready for this kind of schedule? They played a lot of Sunday 1 o'clocks last year. They were not being taken seriously until they beat the Eagles when Hurts got hurt in late November last year. Is Washington going to be ready for this?
No, I don't think so. I'd like him to be. I'm a big fan of Dan Quinn, and of course, I think the quarterback's phenomenal. But I have a couple reasons why. Number one, I think it's very hard on sophomore quarterbacks, if you will. We saw that with Stroud. And guys have been spending all offseason thinking about how to play Jaden Daniels. And I think they will have some things that are going to make his life problematic. But here's the real reason. Go look at their pass rushers. I don't get it. Who are they rushing the passer? I'll read the names to you. Dorrance Armstrong, he had 5 sacks. Jacob Martin, Farrell had 3.5 sacks. Dedrick Weiss, he had 5 sacks. They don't have the pass rush in big-time games. And there are some old veterans out there. They better get 2 of them. But I think if you're talking about winning on national TV, you're going to need a much – first off, there's not one guy in that front that they have to worry about setting protection to. They can set it to the defensive tackle. They don't. They can leave their offensive tackles alone on those pass rushes. That bothers me. Last year they got 10.5 sacks out of Fowler, and he went back to Dallas. So, no, I don't think they're ready for it, to answer your question.
It's a great point. You mentioned whether or not Jaden Daniels will be the same, improve or whatever in a sophomore season. When you look at Caleb Williams in his sophomore season, is it truly a sophomore season, or is essentially he, damn near repeating a rookie season because you're giving him a new coach, a new coordinator? So much has been made of Ben Johnson going to the Bears, and I love their offseason moves. I like their draft a lot. They're seemingly putting together a nice roster, but it's a first-year head coach. It's a second-year quarterback, Pat. What can we expect from Caleb Williams this year?
Well, I feel bad. Well, I don't feel bad for him, but that book that's coming out,
that ain't going to help.
No, I'll tell you what it did. It reduced his honeymoon to now. They're going to be booing him the second he plays poorly, and they are taking it personal. We got a lot of Bear calls, and Jim was in Chicago Wednesday doing a big feature. He was a guest speaker at a big event for Bear fans, and they were complaining to him. And think of who this team is. They ran 2 other first-round quarterbacks right out of Dodge, and one of them, Trubisky, went to the playoffs twice, and they still didn't want him. And then Justin Fields out of here. This guy has put himself in a predicament, and his dad's comments, and Chicago's a place quarterbacks go to die. All that stuff is going to set them off again. And they also like to fire coaches. Think about how similar are they in their decision making to the New York Jets? Fire the coach, get rid of the quarterback. Fire the coach, get rid of the quarterback. I think Caleb put himself in a tough spot.
For those that are not aware, Seth Wickersham, who wrote a book on the Patriots a few years ago that was a New York Times bestseller, he is writing an in-depth book about quarterbacks. And he goes all the way back to Archie Manning and all through present day quarterbacks and getting insight about, being recruited, what it's like to play the position, et cetera. And he got great access with Caleb Williams and Caleb's dad. And Dad was very loud behind the scenes. We tried to tell you last year at this time that Dad was thinking about challenging the entire draft process. And the dad is quoted as saying, "I don't want my son to go to Chicago. And in fact, I may play a year in the United Football League and challenge this in court." I mean, they wanted to be traded to Minnesota. Okay. And that is all out. And it's all out there. And the Bears have expectations, and Pat, the team around him's good, right? If he's competent, if he's solid, is that a 10-win team even with their schedule?
No. I love the 3 offensive linemen they got on the inside, but their tackles to me are average. And those, I'll give you an example. The Minnesota pass rushers, they will have no problem beating those tackles. So the kid will be in trouble once again. And will he make better decisions? Look, I think all 3 of us agreed 2 years ago that Jaden Daniels was the best quarterback in the draft, not Caleb.
Yes.
Yep. We were all on that one.
But Pat, we got 30 seconds, but we were the only 3 that were saying that out loud. I mean, the whole rest of the league was saying Caleb Williams.
Well, I don't count the rest of the league. I count us.
So
I've been in
anyway,
this thing long enough to know I don't need anyone else's opinion. I got my own. And
So
Caleb is in trouble.
So for those that were unaware, the Seth Wickersham book, look it up if you haven't seen the stuff that's already been released. The book comes out in September, but pre-publicity, he's going to do very well with it. Our remaining moments with Pat Kirwan on the other side. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X.
Southwest Florida's scorching heat is on its way. Stay cool with Air Advantage. As a proud Rheem Pro partner, Air Advantage delivers top-notch air conditioning solutions to keep you cool and comfortable. Right now, enjoy 18 months, no interest, no payments on qualifying systems. Call 433-4635 today for expert installation and unbeatable comfort all summer long. Online at myairadvantage.com. Air Advantage. Call today, 433-4635.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Whether you're chasing peak performance, reigniting intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health creates customized game plans to optimize your health. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs and Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for 10% off your service. Find your maximum self with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples, Florida. Call 239-427-3441 today.
This is Miller and Moulton.
couple of the players, Mark, in Chicago were telling Jimmy Miller the other night that Ben has been riding those guys like there's no tomorrow. He's been completely out of his calm character, and he's been ripping guys right and left in meetings and everywhere else.
Interesting. You know me, Pat. I hope all these coaches work out. I want everybody to be good. We know that's not the reality. I thought Glenn would make a better head coach than Johnson. I worry about the play caller becoming a head coach sometimes.
Yeah, especially if he gives up the thing he was good at.
Right. Well, but he has to in order to be a good head coach.
I know.
Look at McDaniel. It's not worked.
Nope. No.
I hate the retreads. I like I hate hockey. They just retread guy. But you've kind of beat me down over the years. It's hard to get into the league and be good the first time.
Yeah, and the league, the impulsive behavior of owners and the salary cap, when you get tied up in the cap and you really can't get out from under it, you're going to go to cap jail. And you realize the only thing I can do to convince my fan base that I'm trying is to fire the coach. and he doesn't count in the cap. And these young guys, a young coach and a young quarterback is kind of the same thing to me. 1 out of 5 is a good ratio of success. You go look at how.
Well, and I mean, and I think the other thing, and I remember you saying it. It's like, and I'm not doing it because of the Lions, but Dan Campbell was at least an interim coach. He at least had a handful of games of understanding how to run the business of being a head coach.
He absolutely knew what he had to do to be good, and he had it in his mind because he was spending a nice amount of time with Cowher. I had hooked those guys up, and I told Dan, I go, he's just like you. He's the older version of you. You need to pick his brain about what it was like in the beginning. And they talked a lot. And it wasn't because of Bill. It was Dan knew the 4 or 5 things that he needed to be great at. And so A, he knew what he had to be able to do. And B, he had a plan to do it. And he's really instinctive. So many of the guys are manipulated by the GM. Think of the GMs that hire these kids. Why would you hire an unproven guy in a world where he's going to get fired in 2 years, maybe 3? Because they want to manage the coach. They want to manage the roster. And once that happens, the players know that the guy who's talking to us every Wednesday morning, they call him the head coach, but he's not in charge. And they don't really listen that much to him.
It's funny. That sounds like where baseball is right now, Pat. I know you're not a baseball guy, but the GM runs the team. He sets the lineup. He does everything.
Yep.
The manager's job is basically to handle the personalities in the clubhouse.
That's it. Do you think Philadelphia's like that? Howie's running that whole show. John Snyder, John wanted that so badly. And Pete said to him, I'll give you my management duties. You can have it. And John just didn't think it would work with Pete. He said, well, Pete's going to be here. That's not going to work. So, Pete wanted to try. He said, look, you can have it. You've been here long enough. You can have final say. I don't care. I trust you. And he just wouldn't do it that way. But John's finding out it's not that easy.
Well, this is a very ambitious change on the fly that they're trying to do here. That they're tearing down a team that's won 9, 9, and 10 games the last 3 years. And instead of trying to improve it, they're tearing it down. And this is interesting what they're doing in Seattle.
It is. It's very risky, which is really where you were taking that. And the fan base was already getting frustrated that 9 wins wasn't good enough.
Right.
So that, they weren't like, the Steeler fan still thinks as long as we have a winning record, I'm not that upset. And we got a couple guys now that are, one guy calls in 2 days ago and said, it's time to, break it down, tear it down and start over. And the next 5 calls were people furious with that idea.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. about 10 more minutes with Pat Kirwan. NFL Radio's moving the change. You can listen to him weekdays 3 to 7 on channel 88 if you get Sirius XM. I'm just going to belabor one more schedule point.
Sure.
Do you buy into if a team like the Chiefs are revamping their offensive line in a big way? And you would think then that the line would be better in the second half of the year than the first half of the year. Yes? No? Would you agree with that?
Well, yes and no. The right tackle is not very good, and he won't be very good the whole year.
Okay. But
September and December are going to look the same. Now, on the left side, I don't even know. They're going to have a revolving door until everyone's healthy enough to be evaluated.
But my point is, they're the Chiefs. I get it. But with a revamped offensive line or an offensive line that we don't know how good it is, Pat, their opening stretch of games, all those teams were in the top quarter of the league in ability to rush the passer last year. Chargers, Eagles, the Giants pass rush when healthy now is very formidable. The Ravens, even the Jags have 2 double-digit sack guys on the defensive line. We'll see about Detroit and the Raiders. But, I mean, the first half of the year, 5 of their first 8 opponents were in the top quarter of the league last year in rush and the passer. Is there something to that, or am I overanalyzing the 3-car funeral?
No. Matchups we talk about this on the show a lot, especially on Fridays before games. And there are matchup things that you always have to worry about. And when you're talking about this team, if the matchups against team with outside pass rushers, legit outside pass rushers, and you have to face something like that 3 out of 4 weeks, your quarterback's going to get beat up. And he's elusive and he scrambles around and he's great and all that business. But if your strength of your defense happens to be that outside pass rushers, their tackles can't handle that. The quarterback will try to manipulate it 100 different ways. But while all that's going on, Tooney's not here on the inside.
Right.
So it's not, where are they going? So I think there's going to be problems. But I also think this, in different degrees, all 3 teams in their division took a step towards them. Denver, Chargers, and even the Raiders.
The Raiders, yeah.
I mean, so I don't think they've caught them by any means, but they're closing in on them. And that's just a matter of time. That's why these things, it's hard to stay on top of the mountain. And did the Eagle game, this is really a question that coaches like, did the Eagle game teach us how to play them? Because I've seen teams that drop a Super Bowl and the book is out on how to play them. And how much is Kelsey going to be a threat?
It's fascinating. There's a lot of people that are high on both the Chargers and Denver to possibly overtake them in that division. A team that I don't know about everybody, a team that a lot of people, Pat, in the last 24, 48 hours have been high on for a rebound year are the San Francisco 49ers. They have what's regarded as the easiest, if not one of the easiest schedules in the league. But when I look at their roster and I look at what they lost, I look at that offensive line that Trent Williams is another year older and there's not a lot else on that line. I have a lot of question marks about the Niners. I'm not ready to see this team rebound from 6 wins to 11 wins because I don't think their roster is good enough. And this puts a lot of pressure on Purdy, who's been unable to stay healthy. That line's not very good. He lost Debo. When you look at the 49ers, what do you see?
I see what you see. I think they'll be better than their wins last year. I think they're a 9-win team, but I don't think they have the old historic 49er way about them. And I think the head coach, I think he knows it, actually. The receiver core is up in the air, to say the least. Right now, Jennings is the best guy. I don't think they can run and work McCaffrey like they always did in the past. You go back and start looking at those years when he had all those touches. We talked about it on this show. You start having those kind of years, and he did have a couple of them. So I don't think he'll break down. He's too much of a workout warrior, but I don't think he can be talking about 400 touches or something. So you're going to have to pace him a little bit. And where are you going to go when you don't have him? So I do think they're vulnerable. And I said this, I get a lot of pushback from 49er fans, but I say it all the time. I'll say it again. I would not be giving Purdy that deal until he went to 2 weeks of camp. Every day throwing 2 weeks. I want to see if that elbow breaks down. I can't pay him before I see 2 weeks. And he's at camp now, but he might not want to do that. He might want to hold out actually until he gets paid. But if he does that, that head coach will start telling everyone in the world that Mac Jones is good. But I'm with you. I don't see them winning the division. Do you? Does anyone here see him winning the division?
No.
Well, I'm a Rams guy. You know that.
Yep. I just wanted to hear you say it, David.
What'd you think, by the way, of the Ravens' 2-year extension with Derrick Henry, which means he was already under contract for 25. They basically, those 26, 27 seasons are essentially fully guaranteed because 25 of the 30 is guaranteed. So this is a running back, first digits of 3, and they're banking on him to be Derrick Henry for 3 more years. I thought that was an interesting extension because to me, I figure he's got 1 more year as Derrick Henry, and then I might be wanting to make him a 1B guy.
Yeah, and I don't think they feel they can get away with doing it. I think they know he's going to have another good year. I will say this, talking to John Harbaugh, he said, Pat, the one thing I didn't know about that guy, that was my question. I said, what did you find out that you never knew? And he goes, I didn't know how much he takes care of himself. We all heard about it, but it is almost fanatical. He has a daily routine that's probably his whole work day in season is probably a 12-hour affair. And every day he's got all kinds of therapy and stuff after practice. His routine is really impeccable. And I think that gave him the confidence that they can get 3 years out of him. Now, if they don't, they don't. But they also know that guys like James Cook are fishing around for bigger numbers. There'll be another back or two. And I think they looked at 15, which is just a nudge over Taylor, right? Isn't Taylor at 14? I believe he is. So we had a Saquon 20. We have a Christian 19. They got the guy for 15. And he's a rare bird when it comes to taking care of himself. So I think that's why they did it. And I think they know they're done. They're going to get whatever he has left. And that guy is a true pro. Everything about his focus is playing great football. He's really something.
Pat, when you look at Tampa and a new OC, and you look at Detroit with a new OC and a new DC, but specifically on the offense, Baker's now going through his 3rd coordinator in 3 years, but Jared Goff with the new coordinator. Who do you worry about more, Tampa or Detroit with the new coordinator?
Tampa. And I'll tell you why, because I think Goff will run the offense. And the coordinator's was a coordinator before, but I think this is the Goff show, and he's earned that right. And anytime they drift away from things they know how to do well, I think Jared will remind them, no, we don't. We've already tried doing that. That doesn't work. Baker, on the other hand, is playing very physical football. We talked about this last year. That guy's dropping his shoulder and running people over. And there's 0 behind him. So how long can he keep playing that style? Goff's a pocket, throw the ball, and try not to get sacked. And it's an old style of play, but I think Baker he's a cowboy. He's a roughneck guy, and I worry about him personally. And he's played hurt before, and it doesn't always come out well. He's so tough, he'll do it. But you look behind him, Trask and those guys, there's nothing behind him. I said it on the air the other day. They need to go get a veteran backup that's played, because this guy wants to play the way he's playing, and he's running more. He's running in the red zone. He's trying to, as I said, drop his shoulder on guys. You got to be careful there.
Pat Kirwan, moving the chains on Miller and Moulton. With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to NolanAgency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or NolanAgency.com. American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Wine glasses never fall over until you get a brand new rug.
Oh, no!
Ketchup bottles act normal till you're wearing a new shirt.
Oh, you kidding me?
And rocks slide peacefully on the road till the day you get a brand new windshield. Then they fly up off the road and attack without mercy. That's why new windshields from Glass Doctor come with our windshield protection plan. Unlimited repairs and one replacement for 12 months. Don't just fix it, protect it. Glass Doctor, a neighborly company.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Just ordered my Phil Seal book, David. You've got like a couple days before the early ordering ends, so you might want to go online and do that.
Gotcha. Okay, my understanding with the Leafs, Tavares is a free agent, but isn't Marner? That Nylander and Matthews are under contract?
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes until the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. It's National Barbecue Day. So, what's your favorite item? Ribs, brisket, pulled pork. Vote accordingly. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X. We just had Pat Kirwan join us on the American Paint Supplies Hotline, your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. And Pat voted ribs, I'm brisket, and Mark's pulled pork. So there. So
Ribs winning, by the way. Ribs getting 40% of the vote right now.
Oh, okay. I know it's winning in the Twitch chat room. Okay, and by a big margin. So I'm glad it's a little closer in actual voting. So round 2 of the PGA is underway. Take some early scores for what it's worth. Tyrrell Hatton off the back, by the way, followed up a 3 under 68. He's 2 under through his first 3. So Tyrrell Hatton's now tied for second at 5 under. But JJ Spawn went off the front mark. He's 3 under through 4. And, you know, the scores don't look awful, if you know what I mean. That the scoring yesterday at this time, remember, at like 1 under on the course was like the best we could find. You know, there's a little bit of scoring on the course. You know, Joaquin Neiman is 2 under through 4. Hey, how about that?
All right, just let's have a little fun here. Jonathan Vegas. 71's par.
Right.
70.5 over under. Where are you going?
Over.
Your favorite guy, Ryan Gerard, shot 5 under yesterday. 70.5 over under.
Over.
Right. So I know it's interesting to see what guys are doing that were 1 under, a couple over, whatever. In fact, David, out of the top 10, or the top 8, I think, starting the day, the guys that were 4 under or better.
Right.
How many of them do you think shoot better than 71 today?
I'd literally vote the over on all of them. Now, obviously, you know, some will, but I would vote the over on all 8. So I would be voting on them to not break par.
I'm right there with you.
And they all shot 4 under or better yesterday. And I would bet on all of them to shoot par or worse today. The threesome, Scheffler, Rory, Schauffele, 147. They go off the front. So basically what, 5-hour rounds? It's basically 1:45 to damn near 7 o'clock. There you go. That'll be the guts of ESPN's coverage today. That threesome teeing off at 147.
Colin Morikawa's made an early birdie to get himself to 2 under. He made a horrendous double bogey on his 18th hole yesterday. Punching out and punched it into the water. Hit a punch shot just too far. Don't know what he was thinking. Don't know where he was aiming. I wonder how much that double on 18 will hurt him by the end of the weekend, because his game's good enough, obviously, to win this tournament.
Jordan Spieth, who shot a 5 over 76 yesterday, is going off the back this morning, and he eagled his first hole, the par 5 10th. So, which gets him to 3 over, which are we talking top 70 in ties or less?
Yeah, that's right.
Because then right now, I have a feeling that's where the cut's going to be. Could be higher, but if I had to place a wager right now on the cut, I'm wagering 3 over. Could go to 4, but I'm wagering 3.
And by the way, 3 over is exactly where Rory McIlroy is. And like the Masters, where he got off to a bad start, and I said he played himself out of the tournament, making me look like a horse's ass. I'm not going to say that about Rory McIlroy at Rory McIlroy Country Club, because there's not a doubt in my mind that he couldn't go fire a 7 under today. He drove the ball horribly yesterday.
Well, and I know you didn't like the example that I gave yesterday, in which I told the story about Jack at the British Open when he was in his early 40s, and he just wanted to know where he was in relationship to Tom Watson.
I love the story. I don't think it's applicable to today's game. That's
Okay.
all I'm saying.
So you don't think Rory is looking at Scheffler and going, I'm 5 behind Scotty? Let's see if I can get 2 of it back today.
I don't think Rory plays that way. I think Rory's in his own head, if you know what I mean. I think Rory's worried about getting himself back into the tournament today. Now, he goes and shoots 67 today. Gets
Right.
it to 1 under through 2 days. Then I definitely think he's looking at a player or two that he's got to try to catch. But when you're at the cut line, I don't think you can look at, I've got to catch Scheffler. I think you got to look at, I got to hit fairways and shoot 67. And we all know with Rory that I thought it was, I listened to a lot of the PGA yesterday. I had a lot of work to do. I was driving around listening to PGA radio. And that took a break from NBA radio that I've been listening to.
Unbelievable, by the way. Unbelievable.
And they made such, and I don't know who it was, they made such a great point that you don't have to look at the leaderboard to know how Rory's playing. All you have to do is watch Rory. Watch him walk from green to tee. And just look at his body language. You can tell if Rory's 2 under or 2 over based on the way his body language is. You who love to analyze body language and things like that,
Yep.
Rory's your guy when it comes to that, David, because you know exactly how he's playing by his demeanor on the golf course.
Now, dating myself a little bit because he's really been out of primetime television for about a decade. I'm not as big of a body language guy as Bill O'Reilly was. Okay. But I am up there. I am in the top 10. I'm not a medalist, but I am a contender. I try to make the bottom of the first page of the leaderboard in my over-analyzing body language. I am. I feel like Ron Lyle in the 70s in the heavyweight division. I'm a really solid number 5 contender for the belt.
With no shot at ever winning the belt unless I
No.
get a lucky punch in.
Right. I got a good right hand, but, Foreman and Norton and hit harder than me, and so does Frazier. And right.
I might get Shavers, but I'm not getting Norton.
Right. That'd be a hell of a fight. Not going to last very long. Okay. I'll look at his body language getting out of the corner. Exactly.
Bert, if you're up there listening, that last 30 seconds was for you.
Yes,
our
it
old
was.
friend Bert Sugar.
Yes, it was. Max Homa, by the way, off the back, 2 under through 4 to get himself to even par. A popular golfer who shot 2 over yesterday. And, we'll see. Justin Thomas was 2 over yesterday. Can he kind of turn it around? As Mark mentioned, Rory was 3 over. And I think today's a big day for Brooks Koepka. I think if Brooks Koepka has any shot of making the Ryder Cup team, he needs to make the cut today. He's 4 over. He's got to shoot under par probably. There's a chance he shoots even par. It might make the weekend. But I think Koepka's got to shoot under par today. His last year has not been that good. All right. And the other thing is, if Koepka's playing badly today, we know what a big Florida Panthers fan he is. He'll probably just shift his attention to Game 6 tonight.
You know, with 3 holes left, if he's on the cut line, does he just blow one in the water to make the hockey game tonight? I'm kidding. I'm kidding, people. But right now, the cut line is at 1 over based on, essentially yesterday's scores. David thinks it will go up 2 shots. And you may be right, because the course will play a little faster and perhaps a little harder today than it did yesterday, in which the course was soft. The fairway's extremely soft. Scotty Scheffler was ticked off after the round. As much emotion as I've ever seen Scheffler have at the podium, when he was very upset that they did not have lift clean in play for the round yesterday. Several players having mud balls around the course in the fairway, and both he and Scheffler made double on 16, blowing their second shots in the water out of the fairway with both of them having mud balls.
All right. I'm going to make a generic statement that I think a lot of people are going to get angry with me about. I don't know how much we all live by the rules in our everyday life. You all know yourself whether or not you play by the rules or not. But golfers are so into the rule book, and and when you suggest that, hey, if you hit it into a divot, that should be ground under repair, you should get a free drop. Oh, no, play it where it lies. Really? You don't think that's unfair? You don't think hitting it 320 down the middle of the fairway and you walk up to your ball and there's a clump of mud on it that you shouldn't be able to wipe the mud off your ball? I mean, seriously. Sports fans hate this word, but to me, this is about fairness. I'm sorry. That's not fair. That's not tough. That's not 6 inches of rough. That's not the bunkers. That's not the rough. No. We're cranking these suckers down the middle of the fairway. They're in divots. I got a mud ball. What the hell? The game's hard enough as it is. Am I wrong?
I've always been on your side with the divots, David. And I know a lot of people in the golf business. There's not one of them that I've found that's on our side. And a lot of them say, yeah, great. Now you're going to be in a little, you're going to say that's they worry about integrity. And that's almost a rule, believe it or not, David, that might be a tour only rule, because players, the random 12 handicap tries to use the rules for his advantage. And without someone out there saying, yeah, that's definitely in a divot, you can drop it. So I don't know a golf person outside of you and I, and particularly people that are in the golf business, that support that one.
All right.
The mud ball's interesting. The mud ball's really interesting, because when I heard George McNeil, a local pro, was on tour for 11 years and still has status, played last week in the other event, refer to lift clean in place, that the tour players say it's called lift clean and cheat. That's how big of an advantage it is for those guys to be able to place the ball precisely how they want it on the turf.
Could somebody answer me this question? Why should you be penalized for hitting it in the fairway? Those are the two issues I'm bringing it up. You got a big clump of mud on your ball. You're in a divot. You're in the fairway. You miss the fairway. I don't care what you got to go through. Deal with it. You got to be kidding me. And by the way, Mark, and be honest, and maybe your group that, you play with like 20 guys on a rotation. Okay. But you're close to a 12 handicap or right around there. You hit the ball down the middle of the fairway. It's in a divot. You play it out of the divot, or you move the ball out of the divot?
I play it out of the divot every time, David.
Okay.
Every time. I don't touch my golf ball.
Do the guys you play with play it out of the divot?
I've never seen anybody move it out of a divot.
Okay. Well, that's
never
good.
Never once.
All right. That's good. I'm impressed.
Now, with the average game where we have more of a problem is certain guys in certain groups give putts a little more easily
Yes.
than other guys do. And it's so funny. We have a guy that runs our group. Jim Weir's his name. And I like Jim. He's a great guy. And he likes to dish it out, can't take it. And he gets it a lot. And he's an easy target, but a wonderful man. But he sent out an email a few weeks ago for our Wednesday game. And I didn't see it Tuesday night. Tuesday morning, I'm getting ready for Wednesday morning, get ready for work. And I see an email from him. And he described how we were playing the game that day. And he said, all putts must get in the hole. Don't like it, don't play. And I laughed. It's all I said. He walked up to the range and said hello. I went, don't like it, don't play. And said it loud enough for everybody at the range to hear it. And he just laughed. And I love it. Look, you're running the game. Putt everything out. It'll make all of us better players if we're not giving the 2-footer all of the time.
That sounds like that could go on a T-shirt.
It really does.
Don't like it, don't play. That could be a T-shirt. Could be the title to a song. Okay. I don't know if it's worthy enough for a title of an album, but you know what? It's growing on me. Bonus hour, Miller and Moulton coming up.
Southwest Florida's scorching heat is on its way. Stay cool with Air Advantage. As a proud Rheem Pro partner, Air Advantage delivers top-notch air conditioning solutions to keep you cool and comfortable. Right now, enjoy 18 months, no interest, no payments on qualifying systems. Call 433-4635 today for expert installation and unbeatable comfort all summer long. Online at myairadvantage.com. Air Advantage. Call today, 433-4635. American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. I've been a customer for over a year and cannot say enough good things about their service and communication. If you're a business owner, you can trust Molly Maid to do an exceptional job. Their expert team delivers tailored cleaning for whatever your needs, ensuring a pristine environment for clients and staff. Visit mollymaid.com/FT-Myers or call 239-418-0052. Molly Maid makes my home shine, and it will make your home or business shine too.
We've got a text message for Dr. Dollar. A few of my friends are taking daily Cialis or Viagra. What are the benefits and how much does it cost?
Great question. Cialis, tadalafil, and Viagra, sildenafil, are game changer for men who want better performance, stamina, and confidence. They improve blood flow, support long-lasting performance, and help you feel like yourself again. And the best part, at Revitalize Clinic, we make it affordable. Less than $1 per pill. No overpriced prescription, no hassle, just real results, American made at the best prices in town. Plus, with early hours starting at 5:30 in the morning, we fit your schedule.
Take control of your health today. Call Revitalize Clinic at 239-277-5770. Visit revitalizelounge.com or text Dr. Dollar directly at 239-980-2302. That's 239-980-2302. Get results. Get confidence. Revitalize Clinic, because every man deserves to perform at his best without breaking the bank. Text Dr. Dollar now at 239-980-2302.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Hey, David. Would you mind ripping through the promo right now so I can get out of here after the show?
Yeah. Did we go long last segment?
What do you mean?
You text me. Oh, that was
after Pat's.
Gotcha. I'm sorry. Okay, ready?
Yep.
Coming up Monday on Miller and Moulton.
Have we heard of the person who won the PGA?
And look back at the NBA and NHL playoffs.
It's Miller and Moulton, Monday.
Yeah, I love the the golfers who they kind of, they got their feet on the greens and they're standing there and they're framing up the putt. Oh, goodness. Yes. Come on now. Well, Chris, we try. It's a 50-50 proposition. Tony Kornheiser, like once a month, would do a live segment on his national radio show in which he would cut promos for affiliates. It's actually pretty funny.
There was nothing better than the Casey Kasem, though. I mean, there's still nothing better because he would be ripping through all those and then just tee off on something and they'd record it and get out.
Yep. I saw the Bill O'Reilly tantrum on Inside Edition the other day. God, it was great.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the bonus hour in the 239 and the 904. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. It's National Barbecue Day. So that's the focus of our poll question. Which item do you like the best? Ribs, brisket, pulled pork, barbecue. Vote accordingly. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton. So I know one team's facing elimination and one team is not, but more pressure tonight, Knicks or Leafs?
Wow, that's a great question. That could have been our poll question. Where were you 3 hours ago? Wow, what a good question. Because obviously if the Knicks lose, they have another game, but they have to go on the road. They've been great on the road these playoffs. The only game they've lost on the road these playoffs was the last game they played against Boston. But for Toronto, it is a franchise that will have to really take a long look. If the Knicks blow this series, they lose tonight and lose to Boston, they're not blowing up the team.
They might not be able to contractually, but I think they'll want to. I mean, let's just take a step to the side here. We're running the Knicks. If we can't beat the Celtics up 3-1 without Tatum, do we really believe that this core I mean, you could. It's only their first year together with Cat, Anobi healthy. He wasn't healthy in the playoffs last year. You could argue that. But man, oh man, really? I mean, they put this core together to beat the Celtics. They brought in two really good defensive wings to guard who? Tatum and Brown. Well, now they don't have to guard one of them. I mean, Mark, if they can't beat the Celtics this year, you're running the team, you're going to give them a 3 more year run? Do you really think you're going to get it done?
Well, first and foremost, you have said this for a month. The Celtics ain't going to be the Celtics next year.
True.
And Cleveland, until proven otherwise, is a papier-mâché regular season team.
Okay.
So, no, I'm not blowing it up in New York. Your point's taken. I may try to add another piece. I may try to see if I can move one of those defensive players for somebody else. I don't know exactly what it is the Knicks would think that they need. But, David, if Toronto loses, now, first off, you've got Marner
and Tavares.
And Tavares that are unrestricted free agents.
Right. Two of their big four, for those that don't follow the Leafs, both forwards. Tavares was signed 7 years ago. It was a big deal. He went home to Toronto. He was an Islander. They offered him big money, and he went to Toronto, and they've won, 2 playoff series since.
And on top of that, their star, if they lose tonight, and unless Austin Matthews scores a hat trick in a 4-3 overtime loss, the fan base may be done with him.
Do you know who he's going to get compared to? He's Alex Ovechkin. With Ovechkin and the Caps getting eliminated last night, they've only been past the second round of the playoffs once in his 20-year career. Once. But the year they got past the second round, he hoisted Lord Stanley. But until he hoisted Lord Stanley, which was his 13th year in the league, Alex Ovechkin hadn't made it out of the second round. And obviously, he'd already had 500 goals, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, doesn't Austin Matthews become Alex Ovechkin if they lose one of the next 2 games?
Yes, that's a great comparison. The only thing that I would do to poke a slight hole in your comparison, I could argue that what's been around Matthews in Toronto is far better than what was around Ovechkin for the early part of his career. The Caps were never, a 1 seed. They were never winning divisions. They were a playoff team. They were a nice team. They were a good team.
Yeah, I think, they lost a couple of those Penguins series, and they lost a couple of them at home in Game 7. I think the 1 year with Boudreau, they might have had the 1 seed, but I know what you're saying. They were very rarely a cup favorite. Also, I'll say this. I think Ovechkin performed better the first 12 years of his career in the playoffs than Austin Matthews is. Austin Matthews is yet to score a goal in the second round of the playoffs in his career. And he's wearing the C. Now, you wouldn't go as far as I would. First off, Tavares is gone, and I'm letting Marner walk, and I don't care if he scores 5 goals tonight. I'm done with him. Okay? I'm taking the C away from Matthews, and I'm entertaining offers on both of them. And I mean it. I'm blowing it up because, like we talked about, who is the stud? Who is the veteran stud that you can bring in who can take the pressure off them? The famous examples, Messier going to the Rangers, who hadn't won in 50-plus years. And they took the C off Brian Leach, Hall of Fame player. I mean, one of the best players in franchise history. They said, yeah, Messier is the captain. You're not anymore. Deal with it. That's what I would want to do in Toronto. But who's out there? I mean, can I get my hands on Brad Marchand? I mean, seriously. Who can I get my hands on, Mark?
David Marchand would be a perfect guy to go to Toronto.
Yeah.
To show them how to win
Yeah.
in the postseason.
I'd beg him. I'd put a blank piece of paper in front of him if I could. Listen, Sam Bennett's going to be a free agent. I think the Panthers are going to lose him because he's going to get paid. He might get 10 a year, which in the NHL is big money. And he's going to get 6-7 years. But, Sam Bennett's not a C.
No, he's not. And he's not worth the money you're talking about. I'm not disputing whether or not he gets it. But the back 3 years of that contract will be an albatross for whoever signs him.
Right.
But he's going to get it. David, you're right about he's going to get it.
But, this franchise is going to get blown up. It probably will not get blown up to the level that I would blow it up. But I guarantee you 2 of the 4, they call them the core 4, who have won all of 2 playoff series. 2 of the 4 are free agents, and they gone. They're definitely gone. It's just a matter of how much of the other 2 that are returning are we going to keep.
And I'm a big first goal guy in hockey. Toronto can't play from behind tonight. It doesn't mean that Florida can't beat them if Toronto scores first.
Right, because Panthers were down 2-0 in the series and down 3-1 in game 3, and look where the series has turned.
But man, oh man, because the crowd will be so on edge. If they get behind early, they started leaving at 4-0. They threw a fan threw an Austin Matthews jersey on the ice.
And another one threw a Marner jersey. There were 2 jerseys thrown on the ice. Just go online and look up how much an NHL jersey costs.
I'm hoping they got them on the secondary market and found one of those sites that gets the knockoffs for about $40 instead of the normal $200. Plus, you have to spend for a jersey. That's before you put a name on the back. That is a great question. I am going to lean Toronto slightly.
I'll lean more than that because I think the Leafs get blown up, and I think contractually it would be very difficult to blow the Knicks up if they lose and end up losing the series. By the way, do you believe tonight is the series for Knicks Celtics, that the winner tonight wins the series?
No, because the Knicks have shown that they can win on the road. They've already taken 2 in Boston. It would be difficult for me to think they're going to win 3 in Boston, but I think they could do it.
Okay. Do you think the Knicks get it done? Pressure is on them.
I do. I think the Knicks get it done. I had said all along, if Tatum were still playing, no matter what the result of game 4 was, I thought Boston was winning the series. I don't think Boston can win 3 straight without Tatum. I don't think the rest of the team will shoot as well on the road tonight as they did in Boston. I don't think that they'll be able to shoot 35-40% from beyond the arc.
Well, they shot nearly 50% the other night. That, to me, is the game, by the way. If I'm the Knicks, I'm defending the arc. Make Boston beat you with 2s. I'm defending the arc because you got beat from the arc. Pritchard's game is the arc. Derek White came off the bench, scored 34, hit 7 threes. You got to make those guys beat you putting the ball on the floor. Jaylen Brown can beat you putting the ball on the floor. But the guys who beat you the other night, make them beat you a different way.
Yeah, have Thompson in the lane to clean things up. You've got him there for a reason, to be a rim protector. I'm with you 100%. You can't let Pritchard beat you shooting 3s the whole game. You just can't do it.
I do think the Knicks fans who think that if they get by Boston that they're going, we're going to the finals. I'm going to pull a Lee Corso. Not so fast, my friend. Not so fast, my friend. Pacers beat you last year. They're pretty confident. They just went 3-0 in Cleveland. Okay? The fact that Knicks will have home court, Pacers will be like, who cares? We won a Game 7 at Madison Square Garden last year.
Like you said, just won 3 in Cleveland. We're not scared to go on the road. And they do everything pretty well, the Pacers.
Yeah.
Not a lot of weaknesses on that team, if you know what I mean.
No.
I don't know how much greatness there is outside of Halliburton, but there are not a lot of weaknesses on that team.
Although their coach could start to be regarded as a great coach. I mean, won a title with the Mavs, back-to-back years taking the Pacers to the conference finals. If he takes them to the NBA finals as a 4 seed, huh?
No doubt. No doubt. So game 6 tonight, Celtics and Knicks. Game 6 tonight, Leafs and Panthers. And one of the wildest things I've ever seen is 2 days ago, after we knew when Florida won decisively to force a game 6, tickets were about $200 for a cheap seat, cheapest seat on StubHub. It's $130. It's gotten cheaper as we've gotten closer to the game if you wanted to go see Leafs and Panthers tonight. American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Whether you're chasing peak performance, reigniting intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health creates customized game plans to optimize your health. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs and Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for 10% off your service. Find your maximum self with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples, Florida. Call 239-427-3441 today.
Southwest Florida's scorching heat is on its way. Stay cool with Air Advantage. As a proud Rheem Pro partner, Air Advantage delivers top-notch air conditioning solutions to keep you cool and comfortable. Right now, enjoy 18 months, no interest, no payments on qualifying systems. Call 433-4635 today for expert installation and unbeatable comfort all summer long. Online at myairadvantage.com. Air Advantage. Call today, 433-4635.
Honey, you want to come out? I haven't seen you since Glass Doctor installed our custom shower enclosure.
No thanks.
Well, you can't keep eating breakfast in the shower, and laminating your magazines is getting expensive. You remember we have guests coming over tonight, right?
Oh, I'm sure they'd love to see the shower.
It's our neighbors, and I highly doubt they want to be hanging out in our bathroom.
The shower's so good, you'll never want to leave. Visit glassdoctor.com today and schedule an appointment online.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I had seen it before, but I watched a clip yesterday on Stern. They had Pearl Jam on, and Eddie Vedder tells the story about their relationship with Letterman.
Mm-hmm.
And it all started when the song Black was gaining popularity, and Letterman started doing the do-do-do-do-do-do-do, and he'd just go, "Who is that again?" And for like a month and a half, do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Who that? Are we getting them? When are we getting them? All right, Paul, are you working on that? And finally, and Eddie Vedder said, he goes, "I'm a huge Letterman fan." He goes, "I'm watching the show every night." And he goes, "Now it's starting to get to me." Because he'd finish it and he'd look in the camera and go, "Eddie, Eddie." And he goes, "Now this is back when I used to smoke a little bit." He goes, "So one night I'm smoking a little bit," and he's doing the Eddie. And he goes, "Now the TV's talking to me." And he said, "So I'm freaked out a little bit." He goes, "So we're in New York for whatever." And he goes, "I got the number to Letterman's the Letterman show." He goes, "I don't even know how I got it, but I called it and talked to Paul Schaefer, and they worked it out." And when they start doing it, Letterman starts it again, and Paul says, "Well, wait a minute." And he starts playing it, and Vedder walks in, has a microphone in his jacket that's prearranged, comes in, sings a bar of the song, basically says, "That's how it done," drops the microphone, walks out. Letterman goes to basically, and I'd seen that clip, Letterman goes to chase him. He's gone. He walked in, got in a cab, and left. I mean, gone.
I saw a clip the other day of Johnny Carson's first appearance on Letterman. I didn't see it. I was in finals in college and didn't see Letterman that night. It was mid-May of 85.
I doubt I saw that.
I was a sophomore in college. I didn't see it.
I was a sophomore in high school.
Johnny called Dave's mom, asked her, "Does he wish I get hit by a bus occasionally so he can get the 11:30 time slot?" And she said, "Yes, all the time."
That's awesome. That clip you sent from Carson's still one of the funniest. The tomahawk clip. That's one of the all-time funniest things that's ever happened on TV.
And I loved when he grabbed them. Like, "Oh, no." Because remember, the guy who threw it, Ed Ames, he makes an immediate run to get the accident. Johnny just grabbed him like, "Oh, no. We're going to milk this."
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes after the hour. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap today was the day when. Final thoughts, a pick or two, all coming up in a little more than 15 minutes time. The home stretch of Miller and Moulton on this Friday. National Barbecue Day. Brisket, ribs, pulled pork. What's your choice? Go and vote accordingly. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X. We'd appreciate it. So, Mark, I didn't share this with you earlier. And by earlier, I mean at any point ever. Because by now, if you pay attention to this show, we all have responsibilities. Mark has more responsibility than I do because the show is based from Fort Myers, which is where he is now, and I had to move to Jacksonville. So my big responsibility is I booked the show. So the guest list is, that's on me. And I almost booked a WNBA guest today.
It's so funny you say that because I have been literally waiting since 6 a.m. for you to bring up this topic. Because they begin their season
tonight,
right?
In fact, our friend, Carl Semesco, longtime women's coach at FGCU, who left 2 games into this past season to become the head coach of the Atlanta Dream. They're on Ion tonight at 7:30. Atlanta's in Washington. The Mystics are not a good team. The Dream last year, I think, just snuck into the playoffs and went quietly into the night. Atlanta is a 6.5-point favorite. Brittany Griner is with Atlanta now. And so we're going to get Carl Semesco on the show at some point. Okay. I've been texting with him. He's been busy. It hasn't worked for this week. Got it. I understand. I also think, Mark, like his second game, I think, is against Caitlin Clark next Tuesday. So he's got, one of the 3 games openers tonight, but then next Tuesday in Indiana on NBA TV, by the way, the Dream and the Fever. But I'm just curious. Fever don't play tonight. Don't know if anybody cares. Fever are on ABC tomorrow at 3:00, hosting the Chicago Sky, which I think is where Angel Reese plays.
Yes, that's correct.
But I am curious now. This is year 4 of the Caitlin Clark phenomenon. That's if you count her junior year where they knocked off South Carolina in the semis and lost to LSU in the final. So, and then obviously senior year of college, first year WNBA. So this is, her 4th season as a phenomenon. Most people who've never watched women's basketball before watch it for the first time because of her. So are we more interested, less interested? I didn't even know about it until you brought it up. Where are we on this? Season starts tonight. Caitlin Clark's 3:00 tomorrow on ABC.
David, I think this is a humongous year for the WNBA. I think that the fact that the Fever went out and got some free agents to go along with Caitlin Clark.
Mm-hmm.
Here are the problems that I see. Is that I am guessing most of you are Caitlin Clark fans well before you're WNBA fans.
Absolutely.
Caitlin Clark will not win the MVP in the WNBA. I don't know if she'll be a top 3 vote getter for the MVP in the WNBA. And at some point, doesn't the phenomenon have to be at least one of the best players in the league? And I mean one of the 3 best players.
Well, I am very comfortable in saying I think she'll be one of the 10 best this year. And I think there's a chance she'll be one of the 5. I don't think she'll make the top 3 this year, but I'll bet that she makes it next year. I mean, she worked with Steph Curry on her shooting during the offseason. She's taken this very seriously.
And she's gotten stronger. She didn't do anything in the offseason, didn't participate in any of the 3-on-3s, didn't go make a money grab here or there. She's focused on this league. The league, they should be paying her on the side.
Well, you mentioned that this is a big year for the league. It's also a monster year because this is their final year of their existing CBA.
And if they make the horrendous mistake to try to strike for more money, they will crucify their own league.
Poll question. We should have been on top of this, as is often the case. Higher rated game. 3:00 ABC tomorrow, Caitlin Clark. 8:00 tomorrow night, Game 6, Winnipeg, Dallas.
David, it's not close. It's not effing close. The WNBA might beat it 3 times to 1. Might beat it by more than that. Winnipeg and Dallas? Who gives a flying league?
I know. I'm just telling. It's same network, though.
No, I understand. The WNBA is going to crush it.
They'll be promoting the hockey game during the WNBA game, even.
I know, and I'm not expecting a lot of crossover fans there.
Well, I don't know.
I mean, maybe if you're into Caitlin Clark, you're into Hellebrook. I don't know.
So, anyway, WNBA getting started tonight. We're on in the 239 and the 904. Folks in the 904 who follow Ace on women's basketball are familiar with Carl Semesco. Obviously, a lot of people in the 239 learned who Carl Semesco was over the last 22 years at FGCU. He's making his WNBA head coaching debut tonight, 7:30, Ion Television, if you're interested, Atlanta at Washington.
But that's a marquee game tomorrow when you get Chicago and the Fever and you get Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. I mean, the rivalry began in college. Angel Reese has not really backed away from any of it throughout, although she doesn't, she's not liking the Caitlin Clark questions as much as she was earlier, and she's not trying to play up a rivalry. But there is certainly one that has been at least put out there by the media. And it will be, like tonight, Paige Beckers has her first game with Dallas. How will she do in the WNBA? I do think that the league has started to take hold, but the league still loses money. I mean, they're still basically on the back of the NBA.
Now, in theory, though, in a new CBA, they'll get an entirely new TV deal. There should be a lot more TV money coming in the next TV deal. Does that make it a break-even proposition? Does that make it slightly profitable? It probably isn't going to make it profitable enough for the women to get the salaries that they want and that they feel they deserve. But I do think, Mark, that, like, put it this way, ESPN pays $400 million for the NHL. Turner pays $300 million for the NHL. Don't you think the next WNBA contract is going to be similar?
I do. And then the big question becomes the following, is this league taking hold, or is this league made a monumental jump because of a phenomenal player?
Well, I mean, doesn't that then do the comparisons of, did the NBA take hold, or did Magic and Larry carry the league? And then Michael showed up a few years in and said, I'm ready when you guys are done.
Which means there's got to be a Michael.
Yeah. Okay. First things first, though. First things first. We got a Magic / Larry. We got one. People watching women's basketball because of her. Okay. That's a start. But if I had booked a guest for today, you would have been okay?
I expected you to, believe it or not.
Gotcha.
I was almost a little surprised you didn't.
All right.
And I thought you were going to do it just to see how honked off I might get. Miller and Moulton.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floormeisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floormeisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floormeisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to NolanAgency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or NolanAgency.com. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
So I live in a condo, and we've got a really big man-made lake, and it's spread out. It's in front of the condo, goes by houses, it loops around. Been here 2.5 years, touch more than that. Never seen a gator. We got one. Apparently it's a baby gator. It's about 5 feet.
What's that?
The lake outside our condo.
Oh.
So we got a gator.
That'll get everybody up in arms. I'll have that in about 20 minutes.
There you go.
Homa's 5 under through 6. Made an eagle on the short par 4.
Look at that.
Adam Scott, a couple of early birdies. He's at 4. Hatton gave one back. He's at 4. Morikawa's made a couple of birdies. He's at 3. DeChambeau's made an early birdie.
It's my guy. Nix, why was it awful? Don't they usually just take it away? I mean, they didn't shoot it or anything, did they?
No, but somebody in Cape Coral caught one, took the tail and the head and threw the body back in the water, and people are all freaked out because there was a floating gator corpse in the water.
Right.
So this is a race for me today, David. I have a 10:28 tee time.
Well,
not a lot of balls going to be hit before this round.
Can you hand write a sign and show up with it? Don't like it, don't play.
Right. Don't like it, don't play.
Have the clubs over one shoulder and hold the sign with the other. Arm, just like, guys, I'm ready. Ambient, people made fun of Ion 2 years ago when they picked up the WNBA.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
Looks like some scoring is possible in round 2 of the PGA. We told you JJ Spawn went 3 under through his first 3. Max Homa, 5 under, going off the back 9 through 8. He was 5 under on his first 6. Markey eagled the par 4 14th.
I think that's the drivable par 4, if I'm not mistaken.
So don't know what the yardage was today. Don't know if he drove it and made a putt or hold it from the fairway, but 3 birdies and an eagle for Homa. He's gone from 2 over to 3 under in less than 2 hours here.
Good for him. He has not been playing well this year. Had a nice Masters. Would love to see him have a nice PGA. He has not been playing that well, as you mentioned. Very popular guy.
Yep.
I thought it was funnier than hell because he goes on, pardon my take, the Barstool Show a lot. He's tight with those guys. And Van Pelt's interviewing him at wherever it was when they're doing it, and he's like, "Well, you're one of my favorite guys." And Van Pelt, who apparently can't handle an F-bomb, which I'm just baffled by that.
We were shocked.
I mean, come on. And I've never met Scott Van Pelt, but he seems like a pretty cool guy. He seems like he can handle any situation.
I've met him.
And dropped an F-bomb yesterday, and Van Pelt was at a loss for words, and we're like, what the hell?
By the way, we're being told by Clark in our Twitch chat room that on the 346-yard par 4, Homa drove it to a foot.
But Homa, he says, you're one of my favorites. And Van Pelt says, oh, one of your favorites. Well, who is your favorite? And he had no problem giving the Barstool guys a shout out on live television. I was like, good for you, Max Homa. Those are your guys. Take care of them when you can.
So some scoring in the PGA, round 2 underway. And just thought we'd let you know, ESPN Plus till noon, ESPN noon to 7. And then they'll break away because I think they have the Knicks.
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
Today was a day when, brought to you by Game Day Men's Health, with locations in Bonita Springs or Naples. Check them out online, GameDayMen'sHealth.com, or call today, 239-427-3441. That's 427-3441. Mention Miller and Moulton for 10% off your service. All right. We start today in 1860.
Now paying attention.
What's that?
I'm paying attention.
I got you. 1860 at the Republican Convention, they select this guy named Lincoln as their candidate. 1868, President Andrew Johnson nearly impeached. The Senate falls one vote short of impeaching Johnson. 1876, Charles E. Hires presents Hires Root Beer at the Centennial Exposition in Philadelphia, and we got ourselves some root beer. I do like root beer. For what it's worth, the diet root beer, the mug, 0 sugar, it's damn good. The first of over 180,000 Hungarian Jews reach Auschwitz today in 1944. Ted Williams comes back from breaking his collarbone. In his first game, he had 8 hits. I'd say that was a pretty good game. That was today in 1954. Today in 57, several New York Yankee players, including Mickey Mantle, Yogi Berra, Whitey Ford, and Billy Martin, were involved in a brawl at the Copacabana nightclub while watching Sammy Davis Jr. perform. They traded Martin because of it.
Well, they weren't trading the other two.
Pet Sounds, one of the more instrumental albums of all time, was released today in 1966. Today in 1970, this is pretty much for David and I, at the Cannes Film Festival, MASH won the Grand Prix of the festival. I love that movie. The show's great. The movie's actually underrated because the show ran so long and everybody thinks of the show first. Today in 1975, Kiss played Kobo in Detroit. They would record some of it for the Kiss album, Kiss Alive, their first gold album. 1976, at the Spectrum, Guy Lafleur has a goal and 2 apples, helping the Canadians beat the Flyers in a 4-game sweep. 1980, point guard Magic Johnson steps in at center, scores 42, and the Lakers would beat the Sixers for their first championship since 1972.
Also at the Spectrum, Jamal Wilkes chipped in with 37.
1981, Betty Davis Eyes by Kim Carnes is the #1 song in the land. David, this is when we were doing way too much cocaine.
We were. I know I've been chastised lately for saying that, but, is that a nice, cute pop song? It's got a nice, #1. Okay. All right.
Today in 83, at the NBC broadcast of Motown 25, Michael Jackson unveils the moonwalk.
Yes, he did.
When Doves Cry by Prince was released today in 84, it would go on to be the Billboard Song of the Year. This guy named Michael Jordan was named NBA Rookie of the Year today in 1985. Whatever happened to him? Top Gun premiered today in 1986. Later that night, Bobby Ewing would come back from the dead on the TV show Dallas.
Outstanding.
U2 had their first #1 hit in the U.S., the song With or Without You from the Joshua Tree album, today in 87. Muppets creator Jim Henson died today at the age of 53 in 1990. Sammy Davis Jr. died from throat cancer at the age of 64, also today in 1990.
That hit me hard. I played the Candyman in third grade class play.
And today in 2019, it was the last episode of the sitcom Big Bang Theory. Henry Fonda, Liberace, and Billy Martin would have all celebrated birthdays today. Pierce Brosnan is 72. Jack Morris and Olga Colbert, the gymnast, they are both 70 years old. Janet Jackson and Thurman Thomas are both 59 years old today. Gabriella Sabatini is 55. Tori Spelling from 90210 is 52. And Megan Fox is 39. What did I miss, David?
It was today in 1929 that we had the first Academy Awards. Only about 250 people. It was in Hollywood. They gave an honorary Oscar to Charlie Chaplin today in 1929.
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
For the good today, we go to California. This is an unbelievable story. Tiffany Slayton from Georgia was reported missing on April 29th. She was hiking in the Sierra National Forest. A blizzard had hit, and for 3 weeks, they had feared that the worst had happened to Tiffany. But fortunately for Tiffany, an owner of a Vermilion Valley resort, Christopher Gutierrez, never locks his cabin even when it's off season. He does so in case something like that happens. He went to his cabin. They'd been looking for this woman for weeks. He saw the door was slightly ajar when he walked over to his place. There was a pair of shoes there. And when he walked in, she popped out, didn't say a word, just ran up to him, and all she wanted was a hug. Unbelievable.
Nice.
If he doesn't leave that place open, she dies. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Absolutely amazing. For the bad, we'll go to Hollywood, Florida, where an investigation is underway after a video showed an Uber driver pointing a gun at passengers. The video, which was posted on Instagram, shows the driver yelling at passengers to get out of the car before she starts waving and pointing the gun. You can hear in the video one of the passengers say, "She's got them crazy eyes." One of the passenger was a Miami rapper named Chrissy Serlis. Her lawyer released a statement about the incident on Wednesday. Hollywood police are investigating the incident, but gave no other information. Finally, the ugly. We go to Charlotte, North Carolina, where a Popeyes manager was accused of shooting his coworker over burnt biscuits. Rodney Wood was arrested and charged with attempted murder. A witness who was a customer at the time of the shooting told police the altercation stemmed from an argument because Wood and another employee were yelling at one another over overcooked biscuits. They both went outside after one challenged the other, which led to a physical fight, and then Wood put his gun and fired 2 rounds. He hit the coworker 2 times. At this point, the worker is still in the hospital. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, Friday, May the 16th, here on Miller and Moulton.
Johnny Vegas with an early bogey. So the lead is down to 6 under at the PGA Championship. So there. Adam Scott, 2 under on the course, has gotten himself to 4 under. And we mentioned Max Homa, 5 under on his first 9 holes today to go from 2 over to 3 under. Good for Max. Also, Mark Kawa off to a good start. Birdied 2 of his first 6. So Colin is 3 under par. So we'll see what the cut ends up being. The high-profile threesome, McIlroy, Scheffler, Schauffele, 147 off the front 9 today. Game 6 tonight in Florida. Leafs and the Panthers. It's on TNT. So you got that going for you. Game 6 tonight, 8 o'clock, ESPN, Celtics and Knicks. Knicks a 2.5-point favorite. First game they've been favored in this series. Baseball, a major interleague weekend. Mets, Yankees, Cubs, White Sox, Cardinals, Royals, Angels, Dodgers, Astros, Rangers, A's, Giants, Rays, Marlins, Minnesota, and their 11-game winning streak. The Twins take it to Milwaukee to face the Brewers. NASCAR's at North Wilkesboro for 2 all-star races Sunday night. Preakness tomorrow, late afternoon, and BC. And the WNBA season gets underway tonight.
It's a lot of sports.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. If you're a football guy, there's nothing for you. If you like sports and you can't find something this weekend, it's on you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's on you. Major in golf, playoffs in hockey and basketball with big games. Obviously, you mentioned all of the interleague baseball games, some very good series there.
You know, I didn't even mention like Braves, Red Sox, which is Sale against Crochet. I mean, you know, it's got it going on.
Yeah, the Boston Braves and the Boston Red Sox, a big series.
That's right. And the Braves have a better record than the Red Sox. And who'd have thunk that when they were going to meet on May 16th, based on where those teams were about 3-4 weeks ago.
Miss any of the show, go to millerandmoulton.com to download what you missed. We had a pretty good week, some good guests. If you missed Kurt Becker, he's taking the favorite for what it's worth. But if you want to hear who his trifecta is, you'll have to download our hour with Kurt Becker. Journalism is the favorite. It is his race to lose. The Derby winner, Sovereignty, not running in the Preakness, but both Journalism and Sandman, 2 of the favorites from the Derby. Journalism was the favorite. Sandman, I believe, was the 2nd or 3rd betting favorite, both running the Preakness on Saturday. It will probably be the lowest rated Preakness in history.
Oh, wow. You think so?
Without the Derby winner?
Well,
nobody cares.
That's happened quite a few times here recently. But yeah, it'll probably be close. That's true. Plus, there's competition going up against it. A major on CBS, Caitlin Clark on ABC. So, yeah, there's no doubt.
Yanks Mets this weekend. Soto returns to the Bronx, where he already said it's going to be 50,000 against 1. He said he's looking forward to the series.
I hope the Yankees hit him. I do. I hope somehow tonight there's a situation where they can hit him and claim they didn't do it on purpose, but come on.
Then there's one coming at Judge. Miller and Moulton. American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste.
Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound. Mark Miller for Molly Maid. I've been a customer for over a year and cannot say enough good things about their service and communication. If you're a business owner, you can trust Molly Maid to do an exceptional job. Their expert team delivers tailored cleaning for whatever your needs, ensuring a pristine environment for clients and staff. Visit mollymaid.com/FT-Myers or call 239-418-0052. Molly Maid makes my home shine, and it will make your home or business shine too.
We've got a text message for Dr. Dollar. I feel tired, sluggish, and just not myself. I'm gaining weight, my energy is low, and I've lost my drive. Could it be low testosterone?
Absolutely. Testosterone naturally declines over time, but you don't have to accept it. Low T can affect your energy, strength, mood, and focus. But here's the good news. Testosterone replacement therapy, TRT, can help restore your vitality and get you back to feeling your best. Imagine waking up strong, sharp, and energized, ready to take on the day like you used to. At Revitalize Clinic, we specialize in physician-guided, American-made TRT designed just for you.
Take control of your health today. Call Revitalize Clinic at 239-277-5770. Visit revitalizelounge.com or text Dr. 980-2302. Feel like yourself again. Testosterone replacement therapy, because your best years aren't behind you, they're just getting started. Text Dr. Dollar now at 239-980-2302.
This is Miller and Moulton